Yo, what it is, what's good? Welcome to Everything's Blurred. It's your man Tommy here. Breon is out of commission this week, and we do have 2/3 of the Blurred. I said my name's Tommy already.
What's going on, everybody? I'm the one that's holding it down. Well, actually, Tommy and I are the ones that's holding it down for the people that put sugar in their grits. Shout outs to y'all. I am the MR.SHAUN, Mr. Sean. That's right. Welcome to episode 30, y'all. 30. You know what I'm saying?
Episode 30, we get the sugar and the grits love. On a Sunday at that, you know what I mean? When we record, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do it on a Sunday if you're gonna throw
Shout outs for the brunch folks.
You know.
I know y'all be eating brunch with the mimosas and all that.
Shout out to everybody just still sitting at the table drinking mimosas because they've been finished eating for about an hour and a half, and the waiter ain't put them out yet, but they looking like.
The funny part is we hardly went out as a brunch as a crew like that. I think one time we have, but it's just other times when we just go out places. We act like we own the shit. We just stay there, chilling
at the table,
drinking, whatever, having a good time. After like we ain't get the bill, we already got the bill already paid for, but we just still chilling. And then guess what? We be back out in the parking lot, still talk, still chilling.
Exactly.
Like we run the whole shopping center and restaurant. Like
they be like, man, you owe a mimosa like number 7 right now. I know it's unlimited, but we need this table.
Right. Hey man, what you want me to do? You know, the governor just opened up the state. I'm trying to celebrate. I'm trying to turn up, which is our first topic, y'all. According to Governor Hogan, as of Saturday, which was yesterday, May 15th, the state of Maryland is open. You got to wear the mask like that. You know, all different indoor, outdoor spots is open. You know, so y'all can enjoy that. But I will say, still, if you still feel a way about everything that's going on, and this is and I think he said stuff will open up more, especially when it's like 70% of the population is fully vaccinated. So I'm gonna put that out there. You know what I mean? And for those that are watching this and that are state employees, if you are fully vaccinated, if you don't know about this, if you're fully vaccinated, the governor will bless you with, I would say 100, but after taxes, about $70. About 70. You know what I'm saying? Maryland is open. I will still say protect yourselves, wear your mask, have your hand sanitizer, have your Lysol, all that. Spray who you got to spray, even spray yourself. I don't care. Just do what you can to protect yourself. Tommy, how you feel?
Back up. You know what? I just got my second shot last week, so I guess technically you're not considered fully vaccinated until 2 weeks have passed from your second shot. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm fully vaccinated. But
preach.
With all that said, even the CDC also said, you know, it's good. It's cool if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask indoors, outdoors. I think that was probably kind of crazy for them to just put that out publicly right now. Just, you know, because there's still plenty of people who are, you know, anti-vaccine and, you know, just making it more than what it really is. You know what I mean? But for me, I think I'm still rocking the mask. Definitely still chilling on, you know, the outdoor eating, the public spots, you know, going to restaurants and stuff. Yeah, but I don't know. It's. I mean, it's good. It seems like we're making progress. Let's move forward,
Hmm.
and hopefully, I'm being overly cautious. You know what I'm saying? That's what my hope is. But yeah, I said back last year sometime. I don't think things are going to get back normal till 2022. So
Hmm.
I still kind of believe that, but I do think also, as more people get vaccinated, probably like late summer, early fall is when I think I'll start feeling more comfortable myself with different things going on. But I mean, they say being outdoors is definitely um, safer than being indoors with, large parties. So, the weather's turning, even though we still in that seasonal kind of period of the year here in Maryland. But, it's getting warmer. I had to turn the AC on this week, maybe. And yeah, man, hopefully, things continue to look up with respect to COVID and everybody being able to get back to resuming their lives the way you would want to be out here living and doing your thing.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. Yeah, man. And one good thing, about this is in the fall we get to go to Ravens games, you know, and uh the schedule is up, ladies and gentlemen. NFL put their schedules up, and we are from uh the land of the O's, you know what I'm saying? We from Baltimore, holding it down, 410, 443, all that. And yeah, this is the first, I believe this is the first season with week 17. They play 17 games, something like that. Yeah, 17 games, right?
You might be right about that. I gotta
Because
check that actually.
I see a week 18 game looking at this schedule. So let me just run down.
I know just game one, Monday Night Football,
Mhm.
Las
Playing the
Vegas
Raiders.
playing the Raiders with in opening the new stadium in Vegas at that.
In Vegas. Yeah. Yes,
And
sir.
everything I just said about being cautious and everything with COVID and all of that, even though I got the vaccine and everything, I'm trying to be in the building for that.
My man's is trying to go to that too. Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's gonna be crazy. That's going to be crazy for real, for real.
you know,
That's going to be
Vegas.
hell. That is going to be hell.
So I'm
Um,
trying to be in the building for that. Uh,
uh, week
I was
2 is the
wondering if they actually cut the preseason, but it doesn't look like they did.
they did. New Orleans is the first week of preseason. The second week is the Panthers. And the last week is the no name niggas up on 95. The Washington football team.
Yeah. So they cut one preseason game, so it's just 3 games instead of 4.
Hmm.
And I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense now. So I guess week 18,
Yeah.
we got the
Um,
Rams.
week two, we got the Chiefs. That's always a crazy one. That's also another night game. That's a Sunday night game.
Sunday night football. Yeah, so we prime time first two weeks. Um, hopefully we can get 2 W's, but yeah.
I'm thinking 1-1. I'm the
Right.
realist.
Hopefully two W's, but you know what I'm saying, I'll be good with 1-1.
But week 3 is the Lions.
That should be a W.
That should be a W. So I'm gonna say 2-1 as of now. Week 4 is the Broncos. I'll say 2-1.
I don't know who that QB is.
I don't know neither.
If it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, though, I'm gonna throw that one in the W column too.
That would be crazy. The Colts, week 5. That's going to be interesting.
Colts with who's their QB now?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out now. It's not Rivers, right? Because Rivers
I
retired.
think Rivers. Yeah, I think Rivers retired. Oh, Carson
Wentz.
Wentz.
Huh. Okay.
Indy. Um, and it was crazy, man. I used to, Carson Wentz was that dude to me. Like I was like, yo, he balling out here. Like,
Yeah.
can we trade Flacco?
Yeah, so that should be interesting. But that's a Monday night game, 8:15.
Yeah,
So
son,
we got
3
two
out of
Monday
4
night games.
games. We probably see. This is the thing. This is the thing about being a sports fan in the Baltimore and be more in the Maryland areas in general, right? You can rock with the Orioles, you know what I mean? The Ravens, I'm a big. I was a huge, actually, Maryland college basketball fan. You know what I mean? And all of those teams, right? Whenever they've actually won, weren't the favorites. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, they got a nice squad. You know what I mean? They well coached. You know what I mean? They experienced. They do their job, or they know their roles. But they weren't the favorites. You know what I mean? It was never like the Pats, where it's like, oh, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Oh yeah, they gonna win it all. You know what I mean? But see, the Ravens are in that territory now where we got Lamar Jackson, won MVP of the league. He's only in his fourth? Is this his 5th year? Maybe.
I thought it was his
4th. Fourth year. Okay, on his 4th year. Still young, and I just get uncomfortable as a sports fan with all this love and all these positive expectations of the teams that I be supporting. You know what I mean? Like I don't like it. I don't like when niggas stop you in the airport and be like, "Oh, you always been a Ravens fan, or you just got down since Lamar Jackson?"
Let me tell you, brother. Let me tell.
I'm not feeling that,
fam. This is more so with basketball with me, but for a good portion of my life, I've always been a Heat fan and a Lakers fan. And I remember that year when that first year that LeBron went to LA, I bought a Laker hat. And I was like, somebody looked at me crazy, like, oh, so you a Lakers fan now? Because LeBron over there, I was like, I've been a Laker and Heat fan, bro. It's like, yeah, I was like, I've been a Heat fan since the starting lineup was Tim Hardaway, Rashawn Leonard, Jamal Mashburn, PJ Brown, Alonzo Mourning. Dan Marley came off the bench. Please don't play with me, sir. I promise you don't want this smoke. He's like, you got it. He's like, I respect. I was like, I've been a fan, man. Come on, don't do me like that.
That's how.
One time I put a youngin in this place, yo. I'm at Foam City in Towson, and it was a little crazy in the store, but one of the guys that worked there looked out for me. So, and they had this Scottie Pippen jersey, so I went and copped it. And this young boy was like, Scottie Pippen, that man hardly did anything in the league. I said, don't shoot. This boy had to be about 16. So I said, don't you dare. You wasn't there. I was. Okay? Don't do it to yourself. And his boys just laughed at him. I was like, no.
You know what I'm saying?
No. Scottie put in that work. You know what I mean? Don't do that. But with football, it was a thing of, I remember this had to be 13. Between 2013 to 2015, somewhere around there. And I'm at some store and I got on a Ravens hat or something like that, some Raven gear on. And some dude looked at me and he just shook his head and he was like, the Dallas Cowboys will welcome you to their fandom. And I'm just like, I'm good. Because out the blue, out of nowhere, it was all these Cowboys fans in Baltimore. And I'm like, what? Now, I will say this. Pre-Ravens, I was a Cowboys fan because Emmitt Smith was that dude. He's my favorite running back of all time. He was a beast. Michael Irvin, my man, he did a bump and he caught touchdowns. That's what he did. You know,
you Mark, Paul, and John, the gospel.
You know, I wasn't even a big Aikman fan. He wasn't my favorite quarterback, but it was just
you know who never gets mentioned out of them Cowboys teams. That was nice. Jay Novacek.
Jay Novacek. Who was he?
He was the tight end.
Huh.
Hold on. I gotta make sure I'm not confused.
It's been a minute since I've seen anything dealing with those Cowboys from back in the 90s.
But you know, I mean, the Cowboys fans, the Cowboys faithful. Yeah.
Okay.
Jay Novacek played for the Cardinals. Hold up. Yeah, okay. So played for the Cowboys from 90 to 95.
Okay.
And he was a Pro Bowler every year from 91 to 95. You know what? Is he in the Hall of Fame? No, he's not in the Hall of Fame, actually. I don't know. Maybe he was just nice for like a couple seasons with the Cowboys,
and that was it.
but Aikman was not throwing like Michael Irvin, I think, was a good player in his own right for sure. But he had like all of the personality and all of that, added to his stats on the field. But he wasn't like nicer than like T.O. You know what I mean? He wasn't like,
but before that time, he was good. You know,
no doubt. No, I'm not respect to
T.O. was
Michael
later
Irvin.
born, but yeah, then Irvin. But back then, Irvin was good. Irvin was good. I mean, yes, Jerry Rice. I
Plus, he went to the U.
Than Irvin, but Irvin was was one of the top dogs back then as far as receivers. And I did when, and I remember when Deion Sanders came over there. When Deion Sanders came over there, man, it was like, it was like, oh man,
yeah,
but yeah, going back to the schedule, we got the Colts. After the Colts in week 6, we got the Chargers. We got the Bengals week 7. Seems like they did good in the draft because they got a good quarterback receiver situation going on. Because I think the receiver that they got, he might have played with the quarterback, I think, in college. Something like that. Week 9, we got the Vikings. Week 10 is the Dolphins. I'm curious how the Dolphins are going to do.
That might be a good game to go to just to be down in Miami in November for real.
Oh man. Oh, that's tempting, bro. But that next week is going to be crazy with the weather because they're going to be at Miami week 10. Like you said, it's going to be warm. It's going to feel good. But then that next week they're going to Chicago.
Yeah.
You freeze their asses off. Going to get the Bears.
Hold up. Do we only play the Steelers once this season?
No, we play them later on. Yeah, from week 12 on after, it's kind of crazy. Week 12, we got the Doo-Doo Browns.
Yeah.
Week 13, Schittsburg.
Yeah.
14, once again, with the
The
Doo-Doo
Browns.
Browns and Odell Beckham and his shitty self. You know. Week 15, Green Bay Packers. You know, and that week is a personal week for your boy birthday. That's the day of my birthday. I would love for us to get a W against them Packers, Ravens. I'm sure they love that. You know, and if the score ends up being, total score end up being 39, hey, we would love it. Score 28-11, That's all I'm saying. And
Please
y'all can
direct
drink.
your attention to the Jumbotron at the nigga down in section
The nigga
476, losing his mind. This was not for you, nigga. But thanks for coming out.
Damn. They had to shit on me like that. You know what?
Nah,
Fuck
nah,
y'all. Go Cleveland. I'm out.
Big shout out to the Everything's Blurred podcast. Thank you.
Oh shit.
Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is not on the Packers at that point in time. And that should be a cakewalk. Cakewalk W in December.
We the day after Christmas, we play the Bungles again. Week 17, we play the Rams. Last week of the season, January 9th. They come here. Schittsburg comes to Baltimore. And we layeth the smacketh down.
Who knows, man? That game could actually have some playoff implications.
Yes.
Could not,
Yeah, like I put it to you like this. I think when it gets to around August and they do the season prediction, season previews and predictions and all that.
Yeah.
I don't think too many people, because like how you were saying earlier, you hate when people be supporting your team or whatever. I welcome it. I like it because I like when people stop. Like it was one time I was in on my way to the market. I was going to Target or something, and we had a game. It had playoff implications, wild card situation. And the game was going on. I think it was one of those things where a certain team had to lose for us to get in. It was that. So, and again, this is around my birth. This is around December. And the guy was like, Christmas came early, yo. And he showed me on his phone that whatever team it was losing. So that meant we was going to go. I was like, because I had on my Charm City purple hoodie. I had that on. So when he saw that, he said something. I was like, bet. So I like stuff like that. I don't like it when people don't give us our props because we have always been deserving of our props as a team. So what I'm saying is, I think when August roll around, when they do the season preview and the predictions and all that, they're going to say a lot of people are going to predict Cleveland to win the AFC North division. One or two people might say Baltimore, but I bet you more people are going to say Cleveland and Pittsburgh before they say the Ravens. And why they going to say that? What they're going to say is this: because in the playoff, whatever, Lamar don't show up on the big games, especially in the playoffs. He's real iffy in the playoffs. Yada, 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 yada. They need to get it together. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. So this is the year where I feel like, this is Lamar really got to put it. Well, excuse me. The Ravens as a whole have to really put in work. Defense going to do what they do. I mean, granted, it hurt when
We
certain
lost
people
Judon.
left, bro.
When
That hurt when
Judon,
Judon left, bro.
yeah,
That hurt. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? But then, you still got the young boy queen over there. You got Brandon. I feel like Brandon Williams got to hold it down. You still got Peters. You still got my man Marlon Humphrey. They just drafted a guy. I heard he's pretty good. And as far as the O-line, because that was my issue, Ronnie Stanley's coming back. I think they got a guy in the draft that's pretty good. And then as far as receivers go, they just signed Lamar's old high school receiver.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, high schools. Okay.
So he knew him from high school or whatever, and I guess they signed him as like a undrafted free agent, something like that. So
Okay.
because he tried out, and then I think like a couple days after that they signed him. So I'm like, that's good for Lamar because he's familiar with that, and then that'll throw people off because everybody knows you're gonna throw it to Andrews. You know what I'm saying?
Man. That's all. That's really what I want to happen offensively for the team is we gonna run the ball because that's just what we do.
We're gonna run it down your throat because we got our running game is
that's just what we do. But what I just need for Lamar to take that next step and be like, we know Andrews and Andrews is nice. You know what I mean? Andrews is doing this thing these last couple seasons. But everybody knows that. And everybody's expecting you to throw it to him.
Yes.
They don't expect you to be able to find your other receivers. And I want him to be able to just kind of like find those other receivers.
Yes.
And you just know that something is going to be there because they're going to be trying to make sure that they can contain him from running, and they're going to try to take away Andrews. So there's going to be stuff available in the passing game, and I just hope he takes that next step. Defensively, I'm not really sure what to expect to start the season. But I just know over the course of the season, anything that we've lost because of losing certain players or everybody getting on the same page, that'll get tightened up. And special teams is going to be special teams because Tucker. Even though Tucker had a couple misses last year, where it was like, yo, this ain't normal. But
that Cleveland game towards the end of the season had me like, it was a Monday night game, I remember. And I was like, oh, come on. What are you doing? You usually make those. What the fuck? There was a couple times he missed a couple 30-yard joints. I'm like, what?
Exactly.
That's cakewalk for you. That's
like Steph Curry missing free throws. You know what I mean? Like, he missed both of them?
You missed a 50-yarder. All right, granted, we give you that.
What the hell? Right.
But a 30-yarder, come on, son.
Anything under 40 is like, just like book it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Book him, Dano. You know
what I mean? Like he's legitimately probably has the most endorsements of anybody on the team, including Lamar Jackson. So
he got Royal Farms. We know that. He Royal Farms all day.
He might own a piece of Royal Farms at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Tucker Farms.
Tucker Farms.
That
sounds like a real farm. That's the sad part. That sounds like a real farm. Yeah, man.
I'm about to stop it.
Out at Tucker Farm this fall. You trying to roll? We'll get some apple cider out there, some honey. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get some fresh jam, fresh preserves.
Oh man. Dude. Hey. He could probably open something like that up, and niggas will fuck with it.
No, you know what I like to do since he has a background in opera. I would love for him to perform at the BSO. That'd be ill.
Has
That would be crazy.
has that happened? I feel like he's done it.
I know he performed on a show that dealt with different NFL people showing off their talents, but I don't know if he actually performed at the BSO. Like I would pay a ticket for that to see him perform. I'm not the biggest opera guy, but I would go to support. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let me ask you this, Joe. So you can give me you know, an estimate as far as what you think the record might be. But I want to know from you overall how you think we'll do this season.
Oh, I mean, this season, I think we will overall be, I think we'll be a playoff team. I think we'll be a Super Bowl contender. I think that, I kind of feel like it's going to be a rough, rocky start, rocky part of the season at some point. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a point where cats like just kind of count the Ravens out because maybe they lose a couple games that maybe they should have won or something like that.
Always count us out.
And then, you know what I mean, come late November, December, when you gearing up for the playoff push, we'll do what we do, which is usually take care of business at the times of the season. And and then I think that whole everybody expecting the Ravens to do well, that won't be there. You'll still have your fans, your fans here and people that's real fans of this team. But as far as just generic NFL fans who just kind of like pick in or like, oh, I think this team's going to do well. I think everybody's going to still be on that Kansas City bandwagon. It wouldn't surprise me if the Browns actually did have a good season this year. Let's see who else in the AFC. The Chargers might surprise some people. The Colts might mess around and, you know what I mean? Carson Wentz might get back to that old form. And, so.
Still got Tennessee.
Still got Tennessee out there too, facts. And the Raiders too might mess around and be all right too this year. So
you forgot the Bills. And Miami.
The Bills, the Bills are legit. Bills are legit. Miami, I need to see it. But Bills are definitely legit. And this is low-key, this is not an easy schedule even for real. You know what I mean? Like you got the Raiders, you got the Raiders and Chiefs to open the season prime time. Then you get a bye week with the Lions, basically. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx nothing, but knock on wood. But the Broncos, I'm not sure, but you do got to go to Mile High. So you know who knows. Colts, not sure what to expect from them this season. Chargers, I think they're going to be getting better this year. They at least have a quarterback. Bengals. I don't know.
We'll go 2-0 against the Bengals,
I think. I think so. Because they got Joe Burrow was not trash as a rookie, but I don't know because that's the thing with NFL teams. A team could be garbage the year before and do have some moves and then be completely just a much better team.
I've seen it when a whole division was garbage one year and got better the following. I forgot what year it was, but I remember when that NFC West was the most garbage.
And then it was like,
Like, if you thought the NFC East was trash last
right,
year,
right.
it was right up there with that
Right.
NFC West. And then that following year was when I want to say it was 2011, because that following year
You had the Legion
was
of
when the
Boom.
Niners got better, the Seahawks got better. And then it was just
Was that when they still had Kurt Warner and Kurt Warner was on the Cardinals? Still back then?
It might have been. I know I remember that following year, 2012, that was when you saw more of Kaepernick doing his thing with the Niners. Because that's, matter of fact, I think
that's
that
when
was
they won the Super Bowl.
Because that was when old boy left. The white dude, like after he left them, he went to Washington. Forgot his name.
Oh, Alex Smith. Yeah, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
He left. Kaepernick stepped up. And then, like I said, over there in Seattle, you had Marshawn over there, and you had Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? So, and Daniel Baldwin, I think, was there too at the time. So you know, those two teams was on the come up, while Arizona and the Rams weren't, you know, were still they weren't
Yeah,
doing that great.
the Rams was garbage for a long time, for a minute. Arizona had a couple good years when I think they went to the Super Bowl one year, but they lost to the Steelers, I think.
Yeah.
Where, Kurt Warner was their QB. You know, still had Larry Fitzgerald and all that. But
and they might, and Arizona could possibly be a sleeper team going into this fall.
True.
Because I think towards the end of the season last year, they started to pick up some momentum. And they might have had a mediocre record. Like they might have finished like 8-8, something like that.
Yeah.
They might have. I forgot what they finished off, but it wasn't that bad. You feel me?
They got a young QB still doing this thing. They got DeAndre Hopkins, courtesy of the dumbass Houston Texans. And
did Deshaun leave yet?
No.
Are they working on trying to get him out?
I think he tried to work on making sure that he ain't facing no for real legal charges. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I'm hearing there's multiple women, I think, saying stuff.
Oh.
It's like,
oh yeah, a lot of women.
And it's like, it's Cosby all over again, but with a younger man. You know?
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where it was like, oh, just one girl, man, she don't know what she's talking about. Then you heard other one, you're like,
yeah, it's like somewhere in
because
it's in like the 20 women range, like somewhere in that range.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wrap for you, Deshaun.
I don't know. All of this just seems odd to me.
Yeah.
It all seems odd that all of this happens right when he's like,
when he wants to leave.
Yeah, when he finally comes out and says like, I want to be out, I'm out of here, I'm trying to get out of here. And it's like, oh. So it just, all of this just feels, it just feels off to me. But we'll see how this plays out. Yeah. But enough football, man.
Oh no, but hold up real quick. Let me give you my take on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have a good season. If I'm being 100%, I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I'm not one of those people like, yeah, we're going to this every year. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm a realistic fan. I have a buddy of mine that's a Raiders fan every year. We're going to the shut your ass up. Just shut up. Y'all ain't even there yet. Put some money. What's up there? Put some money up. That nigga ain't never got no money neither. Anyway. And so represent, motherfucker, represent. Like, all right, Lil John, damn.
Joe Click.
Matter of fact, Lil Jon probably low key makes great football music to get you pumped up. That's some good workout, like ready to fuck niggas up in the game type music. That's getting you hyped, bro.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You play head busters. Oh, that's awesome. You play defense and you playing some head busters. Yes, you was sacking niggas. Yes, you getting some tackles in. But yeah, I say I like to say, like, I can possibly see there's a possibility that Cleveland can win the division because they are getting better. They were getting better last year.
Facts.
That last half of the season, they were getting better. So if anything, I see them as more of our competition to win the division versus Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
Because Pittsburgh went 11-0, I want to say, to start.
They started off 11-0, and then after the Washington beat them, that was it. I still tell people to this day, like, fam, I'm mad because I could have won money. I told them, I was like, I remember we did a podcast, and I remember the day before the podcast, we recorded that podcast. The next day was the game. And I remember saying something like, yo, that'd be crazy if Washington give them their first L. Both of y'all was like, dang. I'm like, hey man, any given Sunday or Monday. No, it ain't gonna happen. That next day when they played, the game was almost over with. My homeboy, shout out to Rod, who's a Washington fan, he hit me up. He's like, we about to beat Pittsburgh. And I looked, I checked it out, I Googled the joint, it's like 30 seconds left, and I saw how much they was up by. I was like, oh, yeah. And I was pumped, and I was trying to text and send it to y'all. I'm sending the Hulk Hogan gift, like, what y'all say? All this shit. I'm rubbing it in the nigga's face. But at the same time, I'm like, you could have bet off this shit. You could have won money off that. Like, I could have won money. Not even money. If I would have bet a nigga lunch, could have had me a free lunch. You know what I'm saying? Could have had me some Cheesecake Factory. Could have had me some IHOP. Could have had me some halal, lamb over rice and shit. Or for somebody else's expenses. But it's all good. But
as Diddy said, as Diddy once said, put your money on the table and get your math.
Laugh on. Break it down, split it up, get your laugh on. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, I think it's a possibility that we can win the division. The playoffs, I would love for us to be, because I can see Kansas City being number one again. Unless I see, at least until somebody do something different, I can see them being number one again. I would love for us to be number two. The lowest I'll accept is 3. I don't want us to be anything below that.
I just don't want to be the wild card.
I hear you. I hear you 100%, because I think with last year, you had about 5-6 teams that had the same record. We were one of them.
Yeah.
And we got lucky enough to get up in there, and then we, because we played 2 games. We won the first, which was Tennessee. Then we lost the second. I forgot who the second game was. That wasn't Kansas City, was it? Who was the second game?
No. Actually, was it Kansas City? It might have been Kansas City.
It might have been Kansas. It wasn't Buffalo?
I
think it was Buffalo.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I want to say it was Buffalo. That's what I want to say. Because I was like, I'm not playing Griselda for a whole week. Fuck them.
Yep, it was Buffalo, 17-3. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to the Ravens. Pray that y'all have a very successful season, and if we get quite a few, hope we get a few Pro Bowlers, and Lamar gets MVP or gets, or becomes a candidate for MVP. So let's see how that goes. So, all right, enough football talk. And to keep it a buck, even if it was 3 of us, it would still be only 2 of us talking football.
Facts.
Facts
on facts
we
on
gotta get
facts.
and now I gotta, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Avery Johnson. When I come through, I gotta talk that basketball. I want to give a quick shout out because the Hall of Fame was yesterday. So I gotta give a shout out to the inductees. I gotta give a shout out to Kevin Garnett, the big ticket. He was doing this thing in Minnesota and Boston. Gotta give a big shout out to the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. Shaq gave him that nickname, the big fundamental.
Timmy.
He personally, I can tell you that Mr. Sean, that was Mr. Sean's personal favorite power forward of all the times. He'll tell you that personally. And of course, we had to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Kobe Bryant. It's gone too soon, and would have definitely loved him to be there to accept the award. And also shout out to Rudy T. And I know it was somebody from the WNBA. I forgot who it was, y'all.
Tamika Catchings.
Tamika Catchings. Forgive me, young lady. Congratulations.
And the new head basketball coach for LSU, I believe, formerly at Baylor, Kim Mulkey.
Oh, okay.
Who, Michael Jordan also did her induction to her enshrinement too, along with Kobe Bryant's. Yeah. So, congrats to the new inductees. Very much deserving. Bill Russell also got in as a coach, I believe, this go round.
Well, I thought he'd been in there.
Even though he done been in there for forever, probably now. It seems like, but so shout out to the inductees. I haven't seen the any of the ceremony, but I did get to see some of the little snippets of some of the things that both KG and Tim Duncan both had to say about Kobe Bryant and the process of their enshrinement. And yeah. People give Michael Jordan a lot of flack about what he said at his Hall of Fame induction, where he was like, basically he was like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like he was like, yo, fam, why are you calling these people out, dog? Like you're the GOAT. Like, but it would have been interesting really to see what Kobe said. Like if he would have gone that same route and kind of, you know what I mean? Because folks, even though they respected him, loved him, loved his focus and his competitiveness, his drive and all that, they just will tell you he was an asshole though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would have liked to have seen what his speech would have actually been like in that, in that moment, just to see how he carried it. Although something tells me that he probably wouldn't have done that. He probably would have been. It would have been different because, he was all about coaching and, kind of being an ambassador for the game. And Gilbert Arenas was actually talking about how Kobe inspired him to start coaching, like, kids. Just kind of seeing him at different tournaments and different things, coaching kids. And it's like, oh, he really out here coaching these kids, it would have been real nice to see that, but we know what happened in 2020. He's not with us anymore, so But yeah, I don't know. Did you get a chance to check any of that out?
No, I recorded it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'll probably watch it during the week. I was a zombie, man. I was like in and out of sleep, literally all day. So I just had
What?
enough strength to record it and then just
Uh-huh.
go back to sleep. um, but I wanted to watch it because this had to be maybe the fifth year or so where it was people that got inducted that I remember watching and
Mhm.
cheering on and things of that nature. Always wanted a jersey. Like I meant to cop a Tim Duncan jersey and a Garnett jersey. They're swingman jerseys, not the authentics. With
Mhm.
Kobe, the only thing that's available is authentics, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to put a three on. If I do that, if I buy something like that, it's a YOLO thing. It's like, oh, this is a birthday present for me, and that's it. It's
Gotcha.
not going to be, hey, I just got paid. I'm buying this $300 jersey. I'll do that with sneakers before I do that with jerseys. But but yeah, man. I'm definitely going to check it out because I just, like I said, well, like Avery Johnson said earlier, Tim Duncan is my favorite power forward of all time. But Kevin Garnett is right up there because, I mean, Duncan was one of those dudes, yo. He did his job. You could say he was a cyborg, man, or a machine. He got on the court, he put up points, he got rebounds, he was competitive, he blocked shots. David Robinson really trained this man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? David was Obi-Wan and Tim, was Luke.
I think
You know
they
what I
they
mean?
won was it his rookie year in the league? I think they won the championship.
Yes, because that was the
Was that 90 was that 99?
99, because that was it was a lockout that year.
Yeah.
So the season didn't start till like the winter, like February, March, something like that. And the Spurs played the Knicks, I think, in the finals, and the Spurs beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spurs didn't win again till '03.
Yeah, because right after that, that's when the Lakers, the Shaq and
That's
Kobe
when my Lakers came
repeat.
through, 2000, '01, '02.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Spurs won in '03. And then '04 was the Pistons because they beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
Um, and then Garnett was one of those dudes, man. He was everything that Tim Duncan was as well, but he had more of a personality.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and he he talked his shit. He backed it up most times. He was super competitive, like I said before, and you could tell he wanted it more, man. Every time he played like he wanted it. He played like every game was his last, like it was a championship game, and that's what I really liked about him. We already know what it is with Kobe, so ain't much for me to really say
Mm-hmm.
about. I mean, I've said it before here. I wasn't the biggest fan of his for a good while, and then as he got older, I've learned to respect his game and
Yeah.
him as a person.
Yeah.
Like when he retired, I started to see other sides
We
of him,
saw a whole yeah.
and it was just like, yo, this is crazy. But it's like certain people, like when you hear about the Mamba mentality, he basically just put a name on what Jordan did, if that makes sense, because he idolized Jordan so much and he talked to Jordan, and Jordan literally put him on game.
Mm.
But I think the difference was I've always thought Kobe was more of a superstar than a leader.
Okay.
Um, and I think he went about with basketball, he went about it a certain way. And I feel like he probably felt like he had to be that way, that Mamba mentality, to get through that whole situation of being in the league, because it's probably a thing of us just watching it, us as fans, we just watching what they're doing on the court, and we watching, you know, the ESPN analysts say this and that about the sport, but there's probably other stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know, but he did. So he probably had to have that mentality just to survive being in the league for that long.
You know,
So I think that's
considering
why
he came in from high school and he wasn't, he didn't come in and just make that immediate impact the same way like a LeBron did.
No, I think with Kobe, you could say that fourth year, that year when they won the chip, that's when he really started to grow. And then it just came a thing where the Mamba mentality came out, and he changed the number from 8 to 24 and all this other stuff. And then it's like, you know, he had that mentality, and then when everything was over and he was done, it was like you saw a lighter side of Kobe. And then when he did the forgot the name of the show, but I know Peyton Manning did it one year.
Oh, Details, yeah.
And he would break down what different players would do.
That was crazy.
That is ill to me, because it's like you had to, and they picked the best two athletes for that, because both those guys had very high IQ for their respective sports.
Yeah.
So when Kobe did it, it was like, wow. Then you saw the short film he won an Oscar for. Like, oh man. So you just saw more things that was coming out. And it was like, and like you said, when you would see him do interviews, he was smiling more and things of that nature. So it was like, oh wow. So we just saw what we saw when he's competitive. He's really competitive. It's just that his competitiveness had a name and it stuck with him. So now that he's not doing that no more, he's, hey guys, what's happening? You know, it's on some Hulk shit, you know. Bruce Banner, you know, he's chilling. He's a, you know, mild-mannered guy, scientist, but then when he gets mad, turns to the Hulk. He Hulk up and he smashes shit. You feel me? Kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. You know, so it's like, oh, okay. You know, and it's like, I think he's a Leo, but I'm like, that's some Gemini shit right there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Leos and Geminis.
Gemini season is upon.
Shout outs to all the inductees in the NBA Hall of Fame this year. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for y'all contributions to the league. You know what I mean? And while we're on the subject of Hall of Fames and inductees, the inductees for this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have been announced. And it is a very interesting and versatile class. So I'm gonna name some of these names, y'all. All righty. So there's different categories too. I'm gonna go from least known to known. So for the Ahmet Etrigan Award, I'm probably messing up that name, is Clarence Avant. Musical Excellence Award, Randy Rhoads, Billy Preston.
Clarence Avant?
Yeah, Clarence Avant. Oh, that's his name.
You know, it was a documentary on him on
Oh, is he the godfather of?
That's him, yeah.
Oh shit. Oh. Oh wow. Yeah, you're right. I only watched a little bit of that documentary. I gotta finish that.
Yo, yeah, that's a dope doc for real. Cause he's one of those folks that without that doc happening, I don't know if he actually does get into the Hall of Fame, because he's not, you know what I mean? Like you don't ever hear his name. I never heard this dude's name before until that doc came out. And it was like, and then when you see it and you see like all the people that he's had to interact with, all the people that he has excuse me, all the people that he's influenced or been able to kind of like put them together with somebody else, and that ended up like exploding their career. you know, or you know what I mean? It's just like he's kind of like, you know, Diddy, but Diddy, you know, you knew who Diddy was.
Yes.
Now I feel like Diddy is probably doing a lot more, um, you know, just like on some like mentoring, trying to influence folks a little bit and put people in position to do their thing, versus, you know, kind of what he was doing back in the day, more as a being in the record industry, running a record label, all that kind of stuff, you know. Um, but yeah, that's what's up, man. I didn't know he was one
Yeah.
of the folks. That's cool.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
real cool.
And also in the Musical Excellence Award, the last name I'm gonna say, LL Cool J is hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care who you tell. I excel. They all fell. Gonna catch hell. Double L must rock the bells. I was telling Trey,
Nigga need to
wow,
come down on them sweatshirt prices, though. You know what I'm saying?
bruh,
But
that rock the bells, they got some
the Rock the
fire
Bell merch is
merch,
crazy.
but oh my god, them prices.
But you were saying you was telling Trey.
You need to
Uh,
cut it. Yeah, man. Like I was telling her how I remember it was the VH1 Hip Hop Honors of Def Jam. DJ Jazzy Jeff is performing, and he does the LL Cool J is brand. If I don't anybody, I don't care who you brand. I ain't brand. They all brand. I remember watching the audience and seeing him do that, and it was like when you slowly see the audience literally with their minds blown, is the craziest thing for him to do that. Because I was telling her, I was like, people don't take Jazzy Jeff serious. I remember having conversations with people, yeah, man, I saw Jazzy Jeff. They're like, wait, Jazzy Jeff?
They think about
Godfather?
him as Jazz from the Fresh Prince versus
And I'm like,
Jazzy
you
Jeff
gotta
DJ.
understand, this
You know?
man is an actual DJ and has been DJing for years. Like this man is partially responsible for Jill Scott in that album. The Roots up there too. She was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, she wrote, you got my bad, it wasn't Trey, it was my mom. I was talking to my mother. That's what it
Oh,
was.
okay. Mm-hmm.
She didn't know about this stuff. And I broke that down for her. So, and I remember telling her, like, we saw Jazzy Jeff perform somewhere, and he did that same routine, the LL joint.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, though I saw it before, I remember when I slowly felt my head exploding, just you know, it was like you. It's one thing to watch it on TV, but when he does it, like, you know,
when you right there,
person,
yeah,
it's like, how does he catch it and bring it back, and then
it hit
brings
different
it
in the
all
room.
back?
You know what I mean? When you in the room, right there, what was like? Shit, I might have been even. Was that the time? I might have been even closer than y'all at that point. I can't remember. I can't remember if it was that joint. But yeah, man.
I forgot what it was, but it
That's
was.
one. That's because you know, them joints. Them you know, the Philly joints with the Roots, you know, and the party that he was doing down in Miami that was at, like that just made me just salute off, you know, because like he completely different crowds, you know what I mean, and he rocked them both. He was pulling music from different eras, different genres of music, different tempos, speeding it up, slowing them down, pulling the samples out, you know, and yeah, I don't see cats doing that. You know what I mean? Like that's perfection of the craft of DJing. You know
It's
what I
like,
mean?
yeah, it's like him, Questlove, and DJ Scratch, all those guys that when you want to see them perform and put on a show with the music and give you and put you on a journey and you're actually learning something through these records, it's those three right there. The times where Scratch was DJing to open up a versus, he got it hyped for me. You know, I was like, man. But like he partially made that Method Man and Redman joint dope. You know what I mean? And I've seen him perform live
Oh,
too.
yes, yes, yes. Okay.
You know, and so yeah, it's certain cats, man, when it comes to them turntables, man, they know how to work that magic. It's not just you pushing a bunch of buttons on a Serrano and that's it. You know what I mean? It's more to it. You know what I mean? All right, a couple more joints. Early Influence Award, Charlie Patton, Kraftwerk, which I will applaud that because that's early EDM right there, Kraftwerk. And
Okay.
because I want to say Kraftwerk did Trans Euro Express. Don't quote me, but I want to say they did. If not, then they did another like known older EDM joint. And the last name I'm gonna say for the Early Influence Award, Mr. Revolution will not be televised himself, Gil Scott Heron. Now for the performer category, you got Todd Rundgren, the Go-Go's, Carole King, the Foo Fighters, Tina Turner. The last name that I'm about to mention.
Anime Bola.
The last name I'm
Sorry,
about to
Buffalo.
mention is all good. You know, I'm not going to say the name. I'm going to just do this. This ain't for no Diamond Dollars page. We ain't talking WWE Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame
Oh,
host. You know, that'll be an interesting induction ceremony, actually.
we talking S. Carter. For the right price, you make your shit hard. Ghost Rider, for the right price, I can even make your shit tighter. Jay-Z, y'all, going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? That is a great list, man. What you think of it?
I mean, with LL is it's about time. You know what I mean? It's been long overdue. I'm surprised that Tina Turner wasn't already in.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Hove getting in is a great look. You know, um, I'm glad that I hopefully will be around to see that, and he will be around to see that. You know what I mean? And then also Clarence Avon going in is dope. It's dope. Um, yeah, it really, like, for me, that really makes me feel something like, okay, I can actually have some stock, have some appreciation for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that it's not just what they say was good music. You know what I mean? And was good influence or popular influence or whatever. Um, and you know, shout out to everybody else who got in. The Foo Fighters, that wasn't my shit, but I was aware of them. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's big. That's big.
You know.
Big for hip hop, especially with both with LL and Hove getting in.
Right.
But of course, like LL should have been in, and you know, Hove should have been a shoe in for real. If we're just talking about music, now if it's some other shit, that's something else. But yeah, big shouts to them, and congratulations to everybody who got in.
Yeah. Yeah. Dope list. I think the one name that um gets me is uh is Jay-Z, man, because give me 1 second. Because it's a thing of I remember when he first started out. And when he first started out, like I wouldn't say he was under big shadow, but you kind of knew of him because of Big in a sense. At least that's how I kind of incorporate him. Granted, he was already kind of making rounds because before we knew about him like that, he was already working with Jazzo and Big Daddy Kane that put him on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So for him to finally like get on, and he was cool with Big, and they done songs on each other's projects and stuff like that, was like, oh man, I bet. And you got to remember at the time, Big was still that dude. So it was like when you heard of Jay put up like there was times where people were saying like, man, Jay is dope, and Jay was kind of underrated in a sense. Like he was still trying to get his stuff off the ground like that, his name off the ground. And then it seemed like, you know, not long after Big died, it seemed like somehow, some way, he just got into this position of being of success. You know what I mean? He just took off. He took off and he became a trendsetter, and he made these classic albums and these dope songs and putting other people on. He's telling people, forget he's telling people like, yo, I'm rocking gold. Niggas is rocking gold. And the people's like, I'm rocking gold. Niggas is rocking gold because Jay's rocking gold. Niggas had on throwbacks and he had on throwbacks. And he was like, man, I'm wearing button ups. I'm grown and sexy. Niggas threw away they button ups,
Go away they throw back. You mean?
threw away their jerseys, and threw on their button ups. You know what I'm saying? And it was a couple other things. So it was like before Joe Budden announced that him and his crew was the Hove Ventures, it was so many niggas caping for Hove at one point in time when Hove was doing he was doing some dumb shit. And it was like, and I'm like, man, go ahead, yo. They want to make up these reasons and shit. But at the same time, I was a fan of Jay because of he made dope music. He had dope lines, dope quotables. His his stage show at first wasn't the best, and then he got better as time went on. And he'll even tell you that. But uh, it's just so crazy how he really took off, and he got into other things. The clothing line Rockaway has been doing this thing for a while. He had the S dots with Reebok. You know, um, what else, man? I mean, he's one of our handful of billionaires that we have. Him, Dre, and Diddy are our billionaires.
Hove is the Jordan of rap. And
Mm-hmm.
here's why I say that, because
I'm not going to disagree on that. I feel you.
I say that because I don't if you've been a Lakers and Heat fan the whole time, well, not the whole time, but for a long time,
Yeah.
you know, you may or may not have felt this way about Jordan. But back in the day, Mike and them was just killing. That it for me, I was kind of like, yo, I'm kind of sick of these niggas winning all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's It wasn't hate.
I was.
It
Because
wasn't.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The team that another team that really had me watching basketball like that too back in the day,
Mhm.
Orlando Magic,
The Shaq and Penny.
exciting team to watch because of
Yeah.
Shaq and Penny. Shaq and Penny is probably my favorite duo in basketball history. They were just exciting to watch, and that's how I really got into. I mean, the Lakers, of course, watching Magic, but for the East as well. For the East, it was watching Shaq and Penny do their thing, and then Miami had just they had a squad like that year of '96 when Alonzo signed to go to Miami, and when he signed that contract, that made him the highest paid big man in the league. You saw this on the 30 for 30. Shaq was like, "What y'all gonna do? What's up?" Because
Mhm.
I'm fitting. And I think when they tried to pitch a deal to him, he already signed a deal for LA. So it was like, oh man. And then I was still kind of rocking with Orlando for a minute, but then Tim Hardaway wound up in Miami. And then other people
Mhm.
started going there, Jamal Mashburn. And the more I started watching them,
Oh,
the more I'm like,
so you start rocking with the Heat.
they playing some great ball. And it
And
was
then Pat,
just,
Pat Riley was that coach too.
and Pat Riley was their coach. And it was like, just seeing them play was just something where it was like, okay, the Magic was watched to play just for like, current like fast paced basketball.
Yeah.
Miami was kind of like a structured veteran machine that just worked well. And guys knew what they were known to do when they did what they did on the court. You know what I'm saying? But but you know what's funny is both teams lost lost to the
Yeah.
Bulls and the
Yeah.
in
But
different years, they played them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Orlando played them in the 96 joint, and then I think the Heat played them maybe, if not 97, 98, one or the other.
and
Uh,
that's what I mean, man. Like I like Tom, like the Patriots. He's like, I hate
I
these
got so
niggas.
top.
You know what I mean?
I was
And
top. I think what it was, there was so many times where, they called Tom Brady the golden boy. I called him the golden bitch because he would cry about the dumbest shit. When he cried because Terrell Suggs rolled over to his feet and
yeah,
that nigga was hopping like this and
and they
pointing at
threw
him.
the flag.
Bitch, nigga. Like he was a whole bitch for that. Like I couldn't believe that bullshit. And we could have won that game too, because that year the Patriots was undefeated. We could have beat them niggas, but that shit happened. That
Hey
was
yo, you know what? Terrell Suggs. I don't know if he's retired yet, but he needs to go into the Ravens Ring of Honor.
yes,
You know what I
100%.
mean?
100.
ASAP. And that would be a dope game to be at too. Whenever that happens, that would be nice to be at. But back on the basketball tip though, yeah, they was just killing, man. Like they was like Mike, they three-peated. Mike retired, came back. You know what I mean? And they was, he had to get everything back popping because it was basically gone for a year and a half or whatever, trying to play baseball. Orlando got him in the playoffs that year. Came back the next year, start another three-peat. You know what I mean? It was just like, yo, like you acknowledge the greatness, but at the same time, it's like, I'm just sick of these niggas, man. Like, who's your favorite player? Is it Michael Jordan? No. I fuck with Scotty. You know what I mean? just to be different. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, okay. But
that's what it was for me because my favorite player is Shaq. That's my favorite player of all time.
And that's what it is. That's what I feel like it was with Jay's career. You know what I mean? Like once he really got on, and then Rockefeller started building and rolling, and doing their thing. It just got to a point where after that whole thing fell apart or whatever, and then he did his joints with R. Kelly. He was doing some albums, and it's just one of those things where you've been seeing somebody be great for so long that you just like, I'm sick of this nigga. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tired. I'm tired. But in his this was on Kanye's album, matter of fact, on the Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I think, where it's like dark night feeling, die or be a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Like, went from the favorite to the most hated. Would you rather be underpaid or overrated? Like,
yeah.
And then, so now, me now at the age I am, like now I can look back and say stuff like when you think about Jordan, you think about Tom Brady, you think about LeBron, getting to the finals consecutively. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what, man? Might be sick of these niggas, but you gotta just give credit where credit's due, because these niggas actually get there and they close the deal when they get there. You know what I mean? Now, in LeBron's case, he's been outgunned in a lot of situations for real. But even in them series that his team didn't win, he really could have been the most valuable player in the series looking at the numbers he put up. You know what I mean? Like, he could have been like, I think Jerry West was the only person to win most valuable player in the series that his team lost. You know what I mean? LeBron could have been that against Golden State when the JR, and yeah, man, that's what it is. So I feel like Hov is like the Jordan of rap, and he's gone on to do so many more things beyond rap, but he still, still has one foot in, so to speak, still does it, still jumps in every so often. And then in the process has tried to help others build their careers in the entertainment industry, and just dropping gems through his music, just on some financial literacy shit, financial freedom shit. You know what I mean? Financial independence. So yeah.
To that point of what you're saying, I was like that, and not only was I like that with him, I was like that with Floyd Mayweather. I was like, this nigga talk a lot of shit. I want somebody to knock this nigga fuck, but it would never happen. And the more I saw him fight, the more I was like, the more I got to thinking about it, I was like, this is just a talent that he's naturally born with. I can't really knock it, but this nigga is the super villain of boxing, and he puts on the show on the promos and spending money and this, that, and the third and all that, and then he gets to a fight, he barely knocks niggas out. He's basically defending himself, because the whole fight he's doing this. The shoulder is up and he's moving his head, the neck back, and he might counter you. It might switch up and whatever, but he was just that calculated. And it's like with Jay, a lot of the moves he made was calculated. He dropped a project just about every year for X amount of summers. You know what I mean? And it did get to a point where I think it was around him and Nas beef when he came out with the second disc and was talking about him messing around with Nas baby moms. I was like, all right, you ain't have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was kind of a bit much.
Yeah.
And then it was like, then him and Jazzo had a beef, and I remember he didn't even do a record. He did a diss thing, but it was like he didn't diss him. What he did was he got Memphis Bleak, Freeway, and I think Chris Anif to diss Jazzo, and I thought that was some punk shit. Like, don't get your young boys in it. You know, that's just giving them an opportunity to hop on and cloud chase. And it's like, man, go ahead with this bull. I remember when Nick Cannon did that with Eminem. He got the niggas from the Black Squad, you know, all the battle rappers.
Oh,
Hitman, Holla, Conceited, and somebody else to diss Eminem. And it was a thing of like, and I got mad respect for these battle rappers, but I'm like, get the fuck out of here, yo. Like, get out of here, yo. Stop it. Like,
yeah.
that shit is dumb to me. Even when Pac did hit him up and had the Outlaws going to, I've always felt, and though history has shown me different, but I always felt that Biggie, if it would have came down to it and Diddy didn't stop him, I think Big would have shitted on Pac.
Agree.
Because, thank you, brother. Because my whole thing is this: if somebody said this, because like lyrically, I think, yes.
Because Who Shot Ya was aimed at Pac, really.
Right. And that was fire.
But and that was fire, yeah.
But I do think if it came down to like some real rapidy rap shit, Pac ain't got a chance against Big. Like, we're gonna take it back to that freestyle. The nigga said, I got 7 Mac 11s, about 8 38s, 9 9s, 10 Mac 10s, the shit never end. You can't touch my riches. Even if you had MC Hammer and the 357 bitches. You got the crowd going nuts off that whole scheme that you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying other dope shit during this whole thing. Then Pac comes up right behind him. And it was like, this is good on the track, but not no, because when niggas is freestyling and the beat is on, you want to hear just bars after bars on it. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of came up with like a verse for a song, and it was like, it wasn't the same.
And that's yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and when you hear Big rap, you know, Big was versatile because Big could do the street shit. He could do the storytelling. He could do the stuff for the clubs and for the parties. He could do the stuff for the women. And then he also had bars. Pac is mainly just aggression and delivery. He's a brilliant mind. Don't get me wrong. You know, he knows how to pen great songs and poems.
Yeah.
But if we talking like a feature or people that just lived up in cyphers
at a spot and they handed him the mic.
He gonna deliver.
And he just threw on the beat.
That's what I'm saying.
Big is rocking it.
Yes.
I'm gonna say 10 out of 10 times over Pac.
Yeah. 100%. He's just that guy. That's how he was built in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he kind of knew his shit. Like people don't want to believe it, but believe it, y'all. Black Thought, he loved Black Thought. That's why niggas was saying Black Thought is your favorite rapper. Because Big loved that nigga. Big was hurt when he saw the What They Do video. And Q-Tip had to set up a meeting between Diddy and Questlove about that shit in the back of the Lyricist Lounge. It's in Questlove's first memoir. He talks about that. You know, and so it's like, and it was like Big love Thought. You know who else loved Thought? Big Pun. They did a song called Super Rap, Super Lyrical, whatever. Guess who didn't want that song to happen? Fat Joe didn't want that song to happen. Fat Joe didn't want it to happen because it was just on some selling records type ish. It ain't gonna do nothing.
It's not right.
But puns like, but
Oh,
this nigga can rap. This
yes.
nigga is, this nigga got bars though. I don't care about that. You know, and I mean,
You just respect the talent that a dude has
yes.
for the art of it, for the love of it. You know what I mean? Forget the commercial appeal. It's like, yo, this nigga's nice.
Yes, exactly. Like I get what you're saying, but at the same time, dog, we talking. I don't want no suits telling me who I want to rap with, who I should rap with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care if they hot or not. But if I, you know, if it's somebody that I rock with or I'm really feeling they ish, I wanna do a track with them. And that's what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
Um so uh so yeah, man. With the whole Jay thing, I just remember not being, and like you said, it was too many people that was caping for him, and it just got on my nerves. And and I just remember like telling
Back
people
in the
like,
day,
yo,
yeah,
you
true.
listen to, because I remember fast forward, 444 came out. I remember listening to it, and I was like, I thought it was a classic. And a dude I went to college with,
Mm-hmm.
he put up a post. He loved it, and he was like, I think Jay-Z is the best rapper of all time. He explained why. He was like, you know, let me know if y'all agree or disagree, whatever. And different people was commenting. Naturally, when it comes to hip hop and people I know, I hops in the conversation. So,
No,
yeah, I know,
not
right? It's hard
you.
to believe. I know. I just, what you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I just,
Mm-hmm.
uh, some, I've been told, that I'm a connoisseur of the subject. I don't know about that, but I do love the culture and the music. Because when people ask me what you think of hip hop,
Are
I
you
ask them,
done
you
yet?
mean the culture or the music? Don't do me like that, nigga.
No, what did you say? You said,
And
I'm sorry,
so,
did I break your concentration?
you motherfucker.
I'm rocking the Pulp
I
Fiction
know,
thing.
you motherfucker.
Oh, you were finished.
You know what? I'm hungry. I think I'm gonna get me a big Kahuna burger.
That is a tasty burger.
They
So,
got the big brains on Brad. Um,
mm.
but yeah, so it was like Jay will put out stuff, and a lot of stuff was sounding the same. But yeah, a buddy of mine was like, yeah, it was just okay. He's great for 444. I think he's the best rapper, whatever. And different people was commenting, and I was like, let me say a little something. And I said something. I was like, I don't think he is. I prefer Jay over Nas. I think Nas is the better rapper over Jay. He's like, I'm curious to hear about this because you are a legit hip hop head. And I just explained to him, I was like, when I hear a Jay album, I kind of already know what to expect. With the
Mhm.
exception of 444, I didn't expect him to go that route with it. But for the most part, like the production might be different. Like it might be the same producers, but a different sound, and you might have different featured guests.
Mhm.
But as far as subject matter, it's kind of the same thing. When you play Nas, you don't know what you're going to get out of a Nas album, and you don't know like what the story's going to be about. What quotables you're going to get out of it. You're going to get something out of a Nas album versus a Jay. But the 444 was, he went a route that was grown folk rap. And I appreciate grown folk rap because it's like let every other rapper talk about their jewelry. Let every other rapper talk about them different cars they got. Let every other rapper do the money phone picture or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
This man is in his 50s. Let him talk about the cryptocurrency and how he became. When the nigga said, I'm giving you $1 million game for only $9.99,
Mm-hmm.
that ball was so hard to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, there's facts. It's facts, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't knock that particular album because you saw him mature in that. So that was my whole thing. But yeah, there was a part of me that was kind of tired. That was kind of tired of Jay-Z for a minute. And I was kind of glad where he kind of stepped aside from the music, you know, when he retired at one point in time. But then it was like we didn't get a rest because next thing you know, here comes Lil Wayne rapping just
Just
like
like
Jay-Z. I'm like, okay, like you said, Jay's Jordan, Wayne is Kobe at this point. And he's rapping just like him. And there's other people that's trying to mimic Jay's flow. And it just got so flippant. And rest in peace to Fred the Godson. I remember the first video I saw of Fred the Godson. This had to be 09, 2010 maybe. And I thought it was the corniest shit that I've ever watched. He was trying so hard to rhyme like Jay. He got the Jay ad libs in the song, and he's like, he would do something like, am I right, Jay? And Jay come in like, okay, and he's like, okay, yada yada yada, you know, go in. Or he say yes. He's like, okay, and he starts to rap, and I'm like, my God,
stop it.
And it was just like he sounded like he was stuck in 106 in Park time. Like, though this was 2010, the flow and everything, the song sounded like something in 2002, 2003, something like that. And it took a little bit, like I think a few years later, Fred the God got better to me, but he was one of those people that was like, oh, what are you doing? So yeah, I do feel where you coming from, where you get tired of certain people doing certain things. You know what I mean? So yeah, for real. But I ain't tired about talking about this hip hop. We got a couple albums we want to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. So
one upcoming, one has recently dropped.
We're gonna talk about the one that's upcoming because it's about a man that, you know, we really did champion and that we do miss, which is Earl Simmons, aka DMX. It's posthumous or posthumous. I forgot how you say it. The last album. Okay. They recorded before he went home to be with the Lord. Exodus 1:7. Come out May 28th. Oh man, he got some heavy hitters on here, man. I'm gonna go down the track list. Every track has a feature. There's 13 tracks. A couple tracks don't actually have features. One is That's My Dog featuring the Locks and Swiss Beats. You got to start it off with some Double Law shit. Number 2, Bath Salts featuring Jay-Z and Nas. Hey, Deja Vu, we just talked about these guys. Number 3, Dogs Out featuring, we just talked about this guy, Lil Wayne, Swiss Beats. Number 4, it's a track called Money, Money, Money. Guess who was on this track?
Jay.
Moneybagg Yo. How fitting. Money, 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 money.
I don't remember seeing his name on anything I read on the track.
I'm looking at this is off of Instagram. Yeah. Hold Me Down featuring Alicia Keys. Skyscrapers featuring Bono from U2. Male Stick Up skit featuring Cross, Infrared, and Ice Pick. Hood Blues featuring Griselda by Fashion Rebel. And that's all 3. That's the whole 3-headed monster, y'all. So you're getting Conway, you're getting Benny, and Westside Gun on the DMX track. Y'all couldn't wait for that. Walking in the Rain featuring Nas, Exodus Simmons, and Mr. Porter. Take Control featuring Snoop Dogg. It's an Exodus skit. Letter to My Son, Call Your Father in parentheses, featuring Usher and Brian King Joseph. And last but not least, what is a DMX album without a prayer? And them prayers hit. Of
course. Yeah.
Them prayers hit. Can you imagine being at his house for Thanksgiving and he about to bless the food. I mean, the food will probably be cold as shit. But man, that prayer, you gonna feel that dang boy. You gonna feel it. He gonna feed your spirit with that prayer. He gonna feed your spirit with that prayer. I'll say this: I would have loved for a DMX Pop Smoke situation. Hell, I would have loved It's Murder Part 2. It's Murder 2021 with Jay and Ja Rule. That would have been fire. You know what I'm saying?
Ja Rule. I don't know about Ja, but somebody else that you know what I mean. Like I need to hear something from Ja to be like, can you still? All right, cool. You know what I mean? And even with Jay, you know what I mean? I don't even know if that would just where all three of them are in life at this moment. I don't know if they could do a track together and it just come out that well. You know what I mean? Because I think at the time they did that, it was like they was all in hip hop, they was all on the come up for real, and they all had that taste of some fame, some stardom, get some money. But now, you know, Hov just got him is getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. SA DMX was still with us. You know, he would have he's had his battles and his struggles over the last, you know, decade, maybe longer. And then Ja Rule just, you know what I'm saying? Like they probably throw 50 Cent on there in place of Ja Rule. You know what I mean? And I feel like it would fit. I feel like it would fit because 50 is still out here going at people. You know, it's different, but you know, he's still out here going at people. He's still doing his thing. He's on the come up even more now in the TV and film. And yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, John. I don't think you could.
Yeah, I think John lost it honestly while things was successful for the ink. And I think that's another thing. I hate when the suits get in and kind of mess up a certain rep or a certain, you know what I mean? Like they was Murder Inc. and they was making some street shit. But then once, you know, Ja put out that one love song or whatever, that was where the money was, and he had to make more of those joints, and they changed their name from Murder Inc. to The Inc. You know, and you got somebody like Ashanti who's a singer-songwriter, and she putting out hits. So I get that, and it did that with Bad Boy. You know, Bad Boy had spitters at one time. You had Craig Mack, rest in peace, Big, rest in peace, Mace. You know what I'm saying? You had Black Rob, rest in peace. And then the Locks was on the come up. You know what I mean? And then after a while, it was like it went from those like where the cats was like, okay, they'll make some street stuff, but they'll also make stuff to, you know, for radio play or whatever, to just overall, you're just picking up artists just to make songs for the radio. And it wasn't even, and I felt like it wasn't even about making a classic no more. It was just about just being hot for the moment, just putting out hot records that hit. And I dig it, like that's part of the industry or whatever. But you're still you're dumbing things down at the same time when you do that. So when somebody comes out with a very raw, very authentic style, they don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother conversation for another time. But it's like, yeah.
I do want to hear it. You know what I mean? I am
Yeah, as far
anticipating
as
checking it
as
out
far as
because
Exodus, yeah.
I want to hear the. I just want to hear what he has to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's lived a life. He's had a rough life. He's had ups and downs, and yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear the collabs. You know that he has. Swiss Beats is executive producing it. I mean, Alicia Keys is on that joint too.
Yeah.
You know, I do want to hear this project. You know what I mean?
Dang.
It doesn't feel like it's a money grab.
No.
You know, now that he's no longer with us. You know what I mean? It feels like this was something that was already in the works anyway. And
I've been talking about this album for a minute.
yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Looking
So
forward to
just a
it.
piece to DMX. We are looking forward to this album. Hope people are just checking this out. That y'all looking forward to it and y'all get a chance to watch it. I mean, check it out. May 28th. So put that on your calendar. You know what I'm saying? That's a Friday.
May 28th. Okay.
And so we're going to talk about another album that dropped this past Friday. We talking about The Off Season by J. Cole, Jermaine Cole. Shout out to RDC World. And I was right too. They came out with a new video the day that album dropped. We called that. We was like, yeah, yo, he gonna drop that. He gonna drop a video. And sure enough, he did. And it's funny because Trey saw that video. She saw the Long Beach Griffey one. And she was like, what's the deal with J. Cole? Is it really like that? And I was like, yeah, it is. It's a thing. Because it's one of those things where he's one of the few artists in hip hop that could come up with a project like out the blue and people will consume it. You know what I'm saying? So he just has that reputation. He worked for that reputation. You know what I mean?
You put in work, you put in bars.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the one funny thing about those videos was both Mark from RDC World and Long Beach Griffey quoted the same line. I put an M on your head.
M, yes.
Now you Luigi brother. Luigi brother now. And I mean, when he said it, yeah, you had to go. That's a quotable. Niggas is gonna be saying
that. Is it
that.
really though, nigga?
Nigga, don't do that.
Bro. See, I didn't say anything purposefully until we got on the pod because we always we be having full podcasts before we actually start recording sometimes.
Facts, we do.
So, and I had texted you. I was like, I listened to it. I gotta listen to it again because I gotta, you know what I mean? You know, everything don't just hit you on the first listen, and you know, depending on what you're doing or whatever.
Yes. I listened to it again on before we recorded. Yeah.
And I didn't get to go through the whole thing again. And let me also preface all of this by saying J. Cole, dope MC from the beginning. Like I remember downloading.
I know what this leads to. He's pretty much saying, y'all, that he don't fuck with this album. That's all he's doing. He's trying to say it in a polite way. What he's trying to say is he don't fuck
no,
with
that's not. That's not what I'm going to get to. That's not what I'm going to get to. Because but at the end,
but that's what most niggas do. That's what most talented.
Here's the thing. I'm just trying to avoid the call hive because
we ain't popping like that as of right now. We be lucky if we get 10 views on our shit. All right? I've been watching. We get about 5 to 8 views on our shit. These niggas don't fuck with us. Niggas ain't watching that shit. Talk your shit. And then until we blow up and niggas want to pull up the old shit, then we'll address the old shit. But until then, talk your shit, King. We good till now. And we grown, so when you get to a certain, let me tell you something, you niggas that look for the cancel people, the older you get, the less of a fuck you give. We are in our late 30s, okay?
Well, no,
take our shit
I'm
however you want to
29.
take it, my nigga. Because at the end of the day, you're not paying my bills. You're not putting food in my mouth. Guess who's doing that? Sean McElwee is doing that, okay? So fuck out of here.
Bong, bong. All right.
Sorry, continue.
So I listened to the album, and I've gone through it again, but I didn't get to go through it fully a second time. I feel like on this album, Cole came back just on some, he's always going to spit real shit. Yeah. He's always, going to spit facts. He's always going to be, he's always thinking on a different level about different shit. You know what I mean? Than what is like the mainstream. And how he puts it together is very unique and talented, which is why cats fuck with him so heavy. But after not listening to a Cole project for a few years now, this one did not hit me the way I expected it to when I was seeing the reaction online. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reaction videos from the J. Cole fans or whatever with, those joints that came out, hilarious. Because, my brother called me while he was at work, like, yo, this new Cole freestyle just...
I meant to watch. You talking about the LA Leakers one?
LA Leakers one, yeah.
I meant to watch that one. I gotta watch that. I knew I was forgetting something to watch. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm just like,
I meant to watch that shit.
and actually, I still gotta watch it because when I was trying to watch it, that's when he called me. But I'm just like, all right, okay, cool, right? And this is nothing new to me because, like I said, I'm a Cole fan. I remember, downloading the warm up and like the joints that he came out with before he actually came out with his debut album. I felt like I personally discovered J. Cole, and then I was tight when that Miguel song, "All I Want Is You," and that Cole verse was on that joint.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I literally, like, I just discovered this nigga. Now, how's he on this thing? You know what I mean? Like, I was tight. Because I was like, no, but y'all don't really know how nice this nigga really is. You know what I mean? Just off the strength of that verse. But yeah, this one didn't hit me the way some of the previous Cole projects have hit me. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have bars and do his thing straight up. No disputing that. You know what I mean? But I don't know, like we talk about like how like some of the bars like Benny and Conway and them put together and just the metaphors and then some of the joints they use.
Yeah.
Cole doesn't use the same metaphors, obviously, but the feel that you get when you hear it, you're like, okay, you know what I mean? Like you'd be like, I'm riding with you, yeah, and you just want to hear him keep going. I didn't have that feeling. For me, I was listening, and I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't have that same feeling where I was like, oh, this nigga's spitting right now. You know what I mean? Nothing really hit me like that outside of the I-95 track. You know what I mean? Because I really rocked with the production of that and what he was saying. And it also, I want to say he basically took a Hove beat and kind of flipped it. You know what I mean? That
shout out to Cameron.
Dun, 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 dun. Plus, he had Cameron just talking on that shit, which just makes everything harder. You know what I mean? But
he sends his driver to the cookout.
There was another track on the album too, where he basically took the hook, but he took the hook from something that somebody.
My life is all I have.
Yes, yeah.
My rhymes, my pen, my pen.
Took the exact hook and flipped it, but it was dope. That was dope.
Shout outs to
that's what I'm saying.
Moray.
There's usually probably like about 4 or 5 tracks, maybe more, where you just like, yeah, he's just spitting on this one. Like, even if the production ain't even like that, you still fuck with it that hard because of what he's saying and how he's delivering it. And I just haven't gotten that feel yet off of this, even though he's spitting bars. It's not whack, but I just haven't got that same kind of feel. And I don't know. I might have to give it a couple more listens, or just sit down, zone out, focus in on it. I don't know, but I just haven't had that feel, and I was looking for that feel. Like, oh, okay, I'm definitely going to listen. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to listen, and maybe it's one of those things where my expectations were one thing, and the project is a different thing. You know what I mean? That's it, and I got to just kind of wipe the slate clean and just be like, all right, let me just listen fresh. Just take it in.
That's what I would say it is. I had to learn to bring down my expectations, because if you have expectations for something like, especially if the last project was fire, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're going to be like, oh, the next one gotta be just as hard, or it ain't nothing, or you what?
No, it's not.
But I know some people that's like that. They're like, man, it wasn't hitting like the last one, and sometimes it's true.
Yeah.
However, I think you do have to listen to certain things with a clean slate, because I did that with Kendrick. I remember when Good Kid, Mad City came out, and I remember letting it sit for a while, and I remember talking to B, and I'm like, yo, is it safe to call it a classic? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, whew, I've been sitting on that for a while. Thank you. I thought it was and so and I listened to it like so many times. It was getting serious burn for me, man, on my old iPod. I had the first generation iPod. And I remember like, man, when this next one come out, man, it's going to be. I said, oh no, let me not, because I've been upset before. Then when I don't appreciate the next one when it comes out like that. But then when I give it time, I don't listen to it for a while. I go back and listen to it again. I'm like, I could appreciate it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn that with Kendrick. So when he came out with The Pimp a Butterfly, oh man, slap. Damn comes out, oh, slaps. You know what I mean? So, and then with this album, I will say that both times where I listened to it, I was busy doing something. So certain things sunk in and certain things didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like you, I probably got to be like just chilling and really just process that album for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so
for me, I usually like to, like, where I feel like I really consume it the best is like if I'm just riding. you know what I mean, driving somewhere or whatever, and I got it in the car. Because if I'm otherwise, you know, I could be maybe have it on while I'm working or trying to get something done around the house or whatever. And, you know, you're listening, but you're not actively listening.
Yeah.
And in the car, that's when hopefully you got like some good audio where you can hear everything clearly, you know, the bass is right. And you know, you can just be kind of riding, doing whatever you got to do or going about wherever you got to go. But you know, just hearing it come in, you know, in that system and catch everything. So that's when I get an opportunity to do that, you know what I mean? And then that'll tell me for sure if it's really like, all right, because I know the expectations thing uh can kind of kill it for you. You know, if you're looking for one thing and it's something completely different. And I don't think it is, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. Like the last thing that I remember hearing from Cole was his verse on Royce's album on
Bob Lobo.
Bob Lobo, yeah. And
that's another classic album to me.
Dope verse. Dope verse. You know, just the way he put it together, it flowed in sync with everything that, you know, was being talked about on that track and just the flow of that album for real. And so, you know, it's like it's like, yeah, you know, you have these expectations because of the track record that the nigga has put together over these years. So yeah, so it's not a diss for me, but I just know, you know how when you hear some stuff and you just like, yo, hold on, I gotta replay that joint again. You know what I mean? Hold on, I gotta replay that joint again. all right, let me go ahead through and listen to the rest of the album. You know what I mean? But that first joint is fine. That second joint.
Yeah.
I rock with the first track, but the rest of the album, I was just like listening and I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna let it go through and play the next. And I was like, all right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to come back to this because I was expecting a little more, and I'm like, maybe I, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but it just didn't hit me the way I was expecting it to.
I bet you if you go back and listen to that and then go and listen to Kobe's album from 2000, Visions, you would appreciate the J. Cole album probably a little bit more than
that. Oh man.
That album leaked over the weekend. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's on YouTube. I'm gonna listen to it and see what it's like.
Now it's got some features on that joint too, right? Like
it got who he got? Destiny's Child. Is Jay-Z on there? I think Jay is on there. I think Nas might be on there. Let me see if I can find that joint. Because it had some heavy hitters for that time, you know.
Yeah.
And this was back when Destiny's Child wasn't like super duper big. You know, Beyonce was still in the group. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, this was pre-solo Beyonce.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't have Brandy on there?
Right. You know what I'm saying? You would think she'd be on there, man. Let me see, man.
It'd be crazy if he had Monica on there.
That would be crazy. That would be funny.
That would be interesting.
That would be like, wait, what? You went to my prom, nigga. Why is she on your? Let me see if I can find this track listing. Yeah. So He got a song with Tyra Banks, Destiny Child, Nas, 50 Cent. They're on the track together. Then he got a whole track that's on some Philly tip with Black Thought and Beanie Siegel. And I'm assuming that he redid the Run DMC song, My Adidas, because he got a song on here called My Adidas, because this was back when he was signed to Adidas. Oh, and while we're on the subject of basketball, we got to mention this earlier. For those that's wondering, yes, in the new Space Jam movie, Michael Jordan is in it. He will make an appearance, but apparently is not what you think. I don't know what that means. You just got to wait till July 16th to find out. But 2 days before that, you got to wish my man Tommy a happy birthday.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, that seemed interesting. I might listen to that one day just to see what it's like. Sometimes I like listening to stuff that's like not in my range, because sometimes I surprise myself like, oh, this is all right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. And then I want to see if I can notice if there's like a ghostwriter, like somebody writing these bars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because some of these, you could definitely.
Because Big wrote for Shaq.
Yeah.
Big and Peter Guns wrote for Shaq.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
I still rock. I still fuck with that. The Rain track that it was Shaq, Bun B.
Oh yeah, that one.
I think Papoose was on that joint.
Yes, because it was a K Slade joint.
And yeah. That was fire to me, man.
Yeah, it was.
I think Big was supposed to be on it, but
I thought Big did the remix from back in the day. I thought back in the day there was a remix on that with Big and Jay, I think. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe, man, but this since you mentioned K Slay, it's kind of surprising, like, because you got Khaled. Now I don't know. Khaled and K Slay is probably two completely different types of folks when it comes to putting music together and being in the studio. You know what I mean? Like Khaled seemed like he's like one of these studio dudes that's just like, you know, mad talented and putting things together. And K Slade just seems like he's more like the popular like DJ, the dude folks know in the street. You holla at, he knows a lot of people, and you'd be like, "Yo, let's put something together." You know what I mean? I'm trying to do this. You know, he got a lot of connections, but as far as like just the artistry of it and putting things together, I don't know if that's really his lane or if he's more like he could host a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Put it out and all of that. But as far as like putting it together, making sure the music is right, I don't know if that's his lane.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Crazy.
What's happening on Ashley Madison right now?
On who?
Nothing, man. Nothing.
The hell is that? I was listening to you.
Ashley, I believe is a porn site that a few years back had gotten hacked, and there was people's profiles and stuff had got, you know, exposed and leaked and put out there and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so basically you're trying to say I'm watching porn while we're partying. Motherfucker. That's so unprofessional. God damn it.
Yes, that is exactly.
Hell no.
Social media damn near be porn today.
Bruh. You could be a porn star just off of OnlyFans.
Let me just. Well, that's the porn shit now, right? Like, I mean, that's not what they advertise it as, but that's what a
But
lot of
that's what
people
it
is using
is,
it
though.
for.
If
Like, you
you,
know,
hey,
like if you
if you
tell
put,
somebody you got an only, if we was to be like, yo, we got an OnlyFans for our podcast, people be like, what kind of podcast would you be having on OnlyFans?
right,
What you mean? It's
right.
just a podcast. You know, everything's blurred. We talk about blurred shit, music.
I mean, not unless we got strippers twerking while we doing the pod.
Unless it's on that Paul Pierce shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so hold on. So they
They
this
just twerking. And we
album
just like,
came
yeah, for
out
the
and hold up.
MCU, right? Yo, that Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Monica, if you out there, tune into the Anyway.
Like,
Shout out to Paul Pierce though. He did get him, I
got,
think Chris Webber, Chris
yeah, I
Bosh.
saw Chris Webber left TNT. What happened with that?
Oh shit, he left TNT?
I think I saw an article saying that he left TNT or TNT let him go right before the playoffs.
Yo, this is all news to me. I was gonna say I think he's gonna be in the next Hall of Fame class. Yo, what? Yeah, he okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Huh. I'm sorry. I'm looking at something with the 2021 class.
Yeah.
They're saying I'm seeing a tweet from the Bulls saying that Tony Kukoc is headed to the Hall of Fame.
I thought he was already in the Hall of Fame.
They're saying it as if he's new. And Adrian Wojnarowski, he put up a tweet. 2021 Basketball Hall of Fame class players: Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, Chris Webber, Ben Wallace. Coaches: Rick Adelman, Jay Wright, Bill Russell, WNBA Yolanda Griffin, and Lauren Jackson.
Well, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Shout out to them for getting in.
Yeah, I'll send you the article because I got it from the New York Post about Chris Webber out at TNT on eve of NBA playoffs. Yeah, they both agreed to part ways. Yeah, there had been no contract negotiations. There was a feeling that TNT didn't want him back, and maybe he didn't want to return. Wow, because he would team up with Marv Albert. Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna front, man. Like Chris Webber was not really good, in my opinion. When he first was on there, he's gotten better over the years, but like I like Grant Hill, I like Reggie Miller. I think they even have. I think they got Jim Jackson doing some games now too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. I can't front. Like I couldn't stand Chris Webber calling games back, some years ago where he was very, he's gotten better now. But
this is how much of a Lakers fan I am.
Oh,
I remember being on Michelin Ness and they had the Kings Chris Webber swingman, and I was like, I'm not wearing that shit. I'll wear it for when he was with the Bullets, Wizards, whatever. But he was with the Kings. Well, he was with the Kings, nigga. Like,
Oh
like,
man.
like, there's a couple of Knicks jerseys I want, but I'm such a Heat fan, and I remember that fight. I can't rock a Ewing. I love Patrick Ewing, but I can't rock his jersey. I love Allen Houston. I can't rock his jersey. I love John Starks. Can't rock his jersey. No. They got a Nate Robinson one on there. I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna get knocked out, but yeah, cool.
Oh man, right.
Oh, here's a pause moment for you. Shaq massages a cramp for Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA.
Okay.
Why?
Them dudes is just fools, man.
They
Like,
are. They are.
they're just
They
fools.
are.
But I haven't checked the documentary on their show either. But
Me neither. I haven't checked it out.
you know what I mean? Sometimes that show is more entertaining than the actual games that they be showing.
That's a
You
damn
know what I
shame.
mean? Until the playoffs, you know.
Yo, when whoever does their memes is a legend. Whoever does their memes is great. Because they'll read a tweet, find that tweet, put their faces right on like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, how did they work so fast with that shit? It's crazy, yo. Excuse me. But
amazing.
Yeah. What's I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, so where we at with it right now?
Okay. So we're gonna talk about something, I feel like as a podcast, we shouldn't talk about other podcast business. However, us two are fans of this podcast that when we heard about the situation, we were like, what the heck? What is going on? For those that don't know, on the Joe Budden podcast, Joe Budden fired Rory and he fired Maul, I want to say. And it was more so with Maury, all the attention was kind of based on. And he did a video, he did a pod that lives in Patreon. You got to subscribe to his Patreon and check it out, where he explains why he did what he did. He actually recently just apologized to Rory for how it happened. But it's one of those things, man. It's just super unfortunate because these brothers had a good chemistry, and it was just off of them just coming back from their hiatus, and yeah. Just wanted to get your thoughts on it, Tommy. Like, what you think about it? What you think of like the future of that podcast, and what do you think is going to come of what you think Roy Mal might do?
I don't know right now. Like I haven't heard the full, the full story or what have you from either sides, if you will. And it's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy on one hand because as actually, not that it's crazy. I remember they did an interview or they did a pod with Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz, the Brilliant Idiots pod. And then I feel like not that long after that, I feel like Charlemagne, and he was probably more joking than not, but like Joe has a track record of basically blowing shit up. You know what I mean? So like you had, and I think he was talking about like the being on Slaughterhouse, the podcast when that started, and then with Marissa that blew up. How he went
somebody interviewed Marissa about the situation.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And how somebody, so I think So that's what Charlamagne was saying. Just check Joe's history or whatever. He didn't think it would last as long as it did, but it actually did last pretty a good while, and very successful, I believe. So on one hand, I'm kind of like, dang, some people just, it's not that they're bad people, but it's just kind of one of those things where, like, after a certain amount of time, shit is just going to go sideways. You know. Now, it just, I don't know. The whole thing just seems crazy to me. Seems like it's over the business dealings and relationships between these gentlemen, which has then in turn kind of bled into some feelings of disrespect, and you know what I mean, like, fuck the business, you know what I mean? If you my man's whatever, then we should be able to figure this out and handle it a certain way. Like,
Yes.
on the pod where they was all on, where Maul was like, yo, there's just certain things that fuck the business. Like, you just don't cross certain lines. You don't say certain things to people that you really consider your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I agree with that. Like, if you my man for real, like, now it's one thing if I'm just telling you the truth and it's hard to hear, but it's the truth. It's another thing where you just talking to a nigga sideways because you feel like, from a business standpoint, you have the upper hand or you have the leverage, and they don't. Like, so again, I don't know what's up with the whole situation. I haven't heard really anything from either side. I just know that both sides have kind of gone on their rants and put out things, and what they're saying is an effort to be transparent and, provide the truth to the people, because, cats really fuck with that podcast. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I don't know. I still hope that it could kind of work out, but at this point now, I don't see that happening no time soon, at least. I would say though, I figure like Roy and Maul, they might do their own joint though. Like, why not? Why not? Or they could possibly hop on with another platform that's already like, kind of how Maul basically came onto the Joe Budden pod when Marty got, you know, pushed out or fired or whatever that situation was. Damn. Sorry, hearing things in the house. So yeah, but I think, but as far as Joe's concerned, I think is actually I'm really interested to see how it goes, because the fans, I think, will also let him know, like, fam, like, if it sounds like some bullshit, fans is going to speak on it, and they may or may not continue to support. Because I mean, I listened to a couple of those episodes where it was, the other brothers on, other dudes, cool dudes, but it's just not the same. It's not the same, and maybe it might take time for all of that to come together, and it might be all good, but for now, it's definitely not the same. And I'm seeing, like, I'm just curious where Parks feels in all of this too. You know what I mean? Like, Parks seems like he's cool either way, but it also seemed like Parks handled it differently from the very beginning. Like when it came to whatever business situations needed to be ironed out,
Yeah.
it wasn't just him and Joe chopping it up. Like I think he had his representation talk to Joe, and you know they handled it like business from the beginning. And it seems like maybe Maul and Roy did not until it got to this point.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
So, and just because you know things get lines can get blurred, things can get messed up, whatever, and you know mixing family and business, so to speak, and friends and business sometimes is not a good thing. But yeah, one thing's for sure, it's you know it's like a little dramatic saga. You know what I mean? It's not a soap opera, but at the same time, it's real people, it's cats that you kind of feel like you know because you've been listening to them for however many years, or you know checked out the live pods, you know, different shit. And yeah, it's just kind of like reality TV style drama almost. It's like, what's going to happen next? You know, ooh, who said this? Ooh, he unfollowed him. Ooh,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. I heard some of it, some of the joint
Mhm.
when he was explaining it. And it's weird because it's everybody always expects it to be a money thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily a money thing. Like on Joe N, when he's describing it, it was more of a moral thing because he's like, Rory is threatening to audit him. And it was like, because Joe Budden apparently he gave them a raise. And it
Okay.
was more than what they were supposed to get. Rory saw it and was like, "Was what's this? Why am I getting all this money?" And then he mentioned something about him being like auditing him. And Joe's like, "What?" So he felt like some sort of way about that. Like, why are you trying to audit me? You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I put it to you like this. I feel like in this particular situation is three sides to the story. We heard Joe Budden's side, and Joe Budden can be very persuasive when he speaks on things. So it's always interesting when you hear that other side. But here's the thing: people don't realize that. I don't know if anybody pay attention to the one podcast that's on his network that has Bridget Kelly in it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the co-hosts, DJ Olivia Dope, she left the show like a couple months ago, and no one said anything. At least on what I paid attention
Mm-hmm.
to. And I'm saying that because I'm not on social media like that, so I don't be on the shade room and all this other stuff. I don't shake the tea leaves to hear about the gossip, you know. Um, but like somebody had mentioned that and was like, yeah, you could tell he's like a piece of shit because he couldn't keep her around or whatever. Like she saw him for the BS. And it was like I think Maul and Rory kind of see the same thing. Maul was trying to say that it was messed up how it happened. Like to this day, I don't. Maybe I gotta listen to some more of it, but I don't know exactly why he fired Maul. I heard the Rory reason, but I didn't get the Maul reason. And now I'm thinking, so did Maul just leave? Like, after this, I quit. But I don't
Maybe
know
it could have been
exactly.
because like it seemed like he was like, "Yo, I'm not going to be a part of this if there's no respect. Like if it's weird, if it's bad, you know what I mean." So he could have just been like, "Yo, I'm off this," you know what I mean, until we figure this out. And Joe's probably like, "Well, we can't just not pod. So if you don't show up, maybe he probably was like, yo, you don't reach a contract. You out.
There was something else. You mentioned it. Rory apparently did a breach of contract, or was about to do a breach of contract if he did a certain thing or whatever. So that's when, yeah. But it's it sucks, show, because I've been watching these dudes for the past few years. I'm day one with the Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
And we even saw it live a couple of years back before this pandemic shut stuff down. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So it's like, man, it does suck. When Ice and Ish was on there, it was cool, but it was something about Joe, Rory, and Maul that just hit. You know what I mean? It might have been the chemistry and the fact that they friends and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And you saw, like, early on in
Go
the
ahead.
pandemic, Maul and Rory, they did a funny little verses where it was Lil Wayne versus Fab. You know what I mean? And they had people checking it out too. I was one of them. I checked it out. I think Joe Budden did one with between him and Rory and things of that nature. They've been on live, joking around, kidding and stuff like that. So it's like you kind of feel like camaraderie within those guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks. And when I look at it, to be honest with you, it makes me want to do better, and it makes me want the podcast to do better. Seeing something like that, like I don't want nothing like that to come between us, because we're family, literally. B and I are cousins, and you've been a big brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I've always felt like whenever we had issues, we talked to each other about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't nothing that was super nasty. It wasn't nobody talking to nobody. One of them, none of that type of thing. But it is one of those things where it's like, yo, whatever issue we got, let's just straighten it out. Everything good, that we can go ahead and still continue on with this podcast. Um, because I do want this podcast to do better. We'll get into that another time. But it's a thing where it's just like, man, if that podcast is kind of like ending or whatever, or they had a run, like it made me want to like smarten up and just step up even more as a podcast. I want to see this little
There's
podcast.
a lane opening up.
Word,
Nah, but I feel you on that. Actually, we'll talk about more off mic, but especially with this one, I might try to do some things and see if it helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helps with some of that building. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, hopefully, I don't know, man. Hopefully, all of these gentlemen find some success and happiness, and hopefully they mend whatever issues they've had, whether or not they all get back on the same platform or not. Because you know what I'm saying, you just don't have friends that you've known for that long, and going through so much stuff with and what have you, and then you know what I mean, replace that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it's any ill will amongst them, but I just think it's, they got to clear the air on some things, and it's hopefully they get it back 100, whether or not they all do a pod again or not.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And then I also look at it like, I don't want them to stop being friends off of this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly.
That's my thing about that too. Like not being able to do business, That's one thing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So and it's just crazy because on my end, I'm seeing different people leaving different franchises that I enjoy watching. Two people from The Flash left or leaving the show, Cisco and Dr. Wells. Um, and then Dave Bautista just left the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, so he's no longer Drax.
Wait, wait,
So,
wait, 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 wait. I thought we well, we ain't officially talk about it, but I thought it was like he's still gonna be in it. But
from what
now
I
he,
read, it
he
seemed like he's done.
oh word.
And it's crazy because he stood up for James Gunn when James Gunn got fired, but he's not leaving because of like some money stuff or whatever. He's leaving, from what I read, age.
He
Um,
was like too old.
apparently he's 54. He don't want to keep doing playing drags, and he was kind of bothered that they didn't explore more on Drax's background. It was like they focused on him making him the comedy person in that joint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They didn't focus on his actual background, and Batista really likes his background. He's like, as a performer, I want to explore that, but they wouldn't let me explore it because he was the comedy guy.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
was a comic relief.
That
So
didn't
they couldn't
factor
really get
into the
into that.
MCU plans, the cinematic universe plans, right? So
Mhm. So that's just crazy. But speaking of Marvel, this is for all my people representing the LGBTQ plus community. You know what I'm saying? You got you a new character by the name of Somnus. I wish we could put it up on the thing and show it. Um, but yeah, Marvel Comics is doing a thing for Pride Month, which is next month, and it's going to show a different it's going to put a spotlight on different LGBTQ plus characters. Um, so he once was ominous. Um, in Roman mythology, Somnus is the Olympian god of sleep, whose counterpart is Greek is Hypnos. Marvel Comics has drawn all kinds of world mythology for characters before, so Somnus may be a version of the mythological figure or could simply be using the name due potentially having sleep-based abilities. Marvel has used the name Somnus before for a minor character in the Inhumans limited series, Silent War, though the new character does not appear to have any connection to the previous user of the name. Incidentally, Somnus does not seem to appear in Vecchio's previously revealed banner for his variant cover, which includes numerous queer characters, likely indicating that the final cover will put Somnus front and center in the current blank space inside the frame. Marvel's announcement states that more information about Somnus will arrive next week. Um, so there's that. Uh, and also, you guys got your own Captain America. Um, they talked about this back in March. So this year is the 80th anniversary of Captain America. So in the new limited series, there's a new cat named Aaron Fisher. His series debuts on June 2nd, and he'll be known as the United States of Captain America. And he is the first LGBTQ Captain America ever. And Steve Rogers will be teaming up with different cats of the past, and this is one of them. So Steve is going to team up with Bucky, Sam, John Walker, and he's also going to, appear with this brother right here, Aaron Fisher. Um, I'm not super big on, taking a character and making a different version of the character. This might be a Captain America from another universe or whatever, but uh I I think it's dope with the Somnus character versus the Aaron Fisher Captain America. But
Now, the Samus character from X-Men, you were saying that is actually an original character. That character has existed
yes.
in the Marvel comic world, and so this is adding another character essentially that existed, but just adding them to the cinematic universe.
This isn't dealing with the cinematic universes. This is dealing with the comics.
Oh, this is comics, so this isn't something that they will make in the movies. This is just straight in the
This is
comics.
dealing with the comics.
Okay, okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if later on down the line, these characters end up, you know, in the MCU, whether it be a limited series show or a film. You know what I mean? Because if I'm not mistaken, the Eternals has a character that's representing the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
Okay, so now that I understand that factor of it, I feel better about it because it's like, okay, we're gonna intro this in the comics and see how this goes. But also the character in the X-Men was already there. So they're just gonna expand upon their story and
Yeah, I
maybe
think what they
probably get
said
him a
it was
little
like
more shine as a character in the comic series.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm curious to see what this character is about because there's other characters in the MCU that's LGBTQ. I didn't know America Chavez was representing that community. She's a character um, in the comics. Um, but I, as far as Somnus goes, it sounds interesting. I'm curious to see what the powers, what he can, what he can do with his powers. At the end of the day, I can care less about your sexual orientation. It's about what you do. How important are you to X-Men or whatever comic franchise, whatever you want to call it, you're a part of, like, or if it's just your own story. What is it that you're going to bring to the table that's different from what Spider-Man doing, what Daredevil's doing, what Luke Cage is doing, what Iron Fist is doing, what you know what I mean? The Incredible Hulk is doing. Like, I want to know what Miles Morales is doing. I want to know what your fight is. You know what I'm saying? And why people should pay attention to that, not just LGBT, but LGBT, straight, binary, non-binary, whatever. Just people, period. Just
like
checking this stuff out.
like introducing a character and or expounding upon a character's story, but the big thing that you put out there about this character is that they are LGBTQ plus, well, wherever they fall in that community. Is definitely never anything. It's never been. That's never what comics and these sort of cinematic series and things have been about for myself at least. Comfortable saying probably wasn't that for 90% of people who got into like reading comics, who got into actually enjoying the movies that have come out. You know what I mean? So if that is the orientation of a character, that's fine. But everything else about the character is what, not everything else, but you know, their powers, their significance to the X-Men, to the team, you know, and their character, you know, meaning their personality and their integrity and all that kind of stuff. That's what's important.
Yes.
Now, the sexuality aspect of it, I don't know. I feel like sometimes some of these things get a little too deep into all of that for movies that are aimed at, well, not even movies, for stories and ultimately movies that end up coming out that are aimed at just, you know, being entertaining and are really more aimed at, you know, more aimed at like kids, young adults, you know what I'm saying? There's some adults can find the entertainment in it too, but it's, you know, it's like, okay, are you just being inclusive and showing representation and telling that angle of a story, or are you trying to force this onto your audience? And that's where I get a little leery, because when you feel like these are forced on people, it's like it's more than just representation now. It's like your agenda is to try to force a certain sexuality choice. But if this is just representation and telling stories and being inclusive, I got no problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Like sometimes it's hard, like you said, it is kind of hard to watch certain things when to deal with that. When it deals with like same sex stuff, because I remember like, you know, when we was watching what's that joint, man? The joint on HBO with Courtney B. Vance. He died in the show. He was the it was in Chicago.
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I was into the show and what was going on and all that other stuff. Then when it focused on Atticus's father.
Yeah.
And when it showed that dynamic of the guy he was in a relationship with and he was trying to keep it on the low and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the down low part,
mm-hmm.
but the part when they, you know, when they do the sexual stuff.
Oh, he looks so uncomfortable saying that. Okay, yeah, but I feel you. I know what you mean.
And this is no disrespect to anybody that's representing that community. Like y'all probably get grossed out when straight people do show PDA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's just one of those things where it's just like, they ain't had to go that far with it. They ain't had this shit. Oh, damn. So it's like, I'm just like, oh, this is when I get up and get me something else to drink. You know? They still going, like, oh, let me go back in the kitchen again and give me something else. You know?
Oh, man.
So that's the only thing where I feel like, there's sometimes where I feel weird. But I do get it, like that's part of the, you know, that's what they do. No different from straight men doing stuff, you know. But it's, you know, I just rather it be, let's just focus on them and their powers and them as a person, like you said, their personality or whatever. Like I don't know if you ever watched Invincible on Amazon. If you haven't, you're missing out on some dope shit. But the main character's best friend is gay. And he expressed interest in a young man that goes to a college, and he was trying to visit him on the college campus, and he did. And you know, it just showed him just kind of like hanging out or whatever and talking or whatever. They didn't show them like in the bed doing stuff or them kissing, none of that. You know what I mean? It was like you knew from the first episode that the young man was gay. Later on, he comes in and you kind of show some more of his gay stuff, you know. And then he talked about the guy and you show him with the guy. You saw how they got down or whatever, you know. So it was like, all right, I can deal with that, you know.
Okay.
But everything else is like, okay. Hey, they're doing the.
No, but you know, in stuff like
Let me check
Lovecraft
my phone.
Country, um, what's the other joint? Even in Power, right? In the spin-off joint that kind of continues from where the first series leaves off and is focused on Ghost's son and Power. Like the sexuality angle, the way they bring it in is more so like showing it's not just showing the that there's gay people, you know, in the world, of course, but it's also showing like the dynamic when people are gay, but they actually they're not out the closet with it. You know what I mean? So they're trying to keep it under wraps, keep it on the down low. And I guess everything that comes with living life in that fashion. So with in Lovecraft Country, when they did what they did with his father and everything he was dealing with, it kind of makes you think like, oh wow, okay, so he's living the down low life. Well, he's gay, because I don't know if it's the difference between gay and down low, but he's living that. He's gay, but he's keeping it under wraps.
That's what being on the down low is pretty much.
Well, okay, because I thought the down low was like you out, you got a wife, you got kids, but then you still.
It's that too, but certain people.
Okay. AKA trifling. but yeah, so it just makes you think then like because of like, okay, so damn, he gay. He's really not Atticus' real father, but he did raise him. I still never quite figured out. I guess his uncle was really his father. The guy he thought was his uncle.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is why that was a secret. Like, did his uncle step out on the wife? And it was like, all right, we got to keep this under wraps. So you raise him, you say he's your son, he'll still be close, he'll be in the family, but you know, we just can't never disclose this truth about him not really being your son, him being, you know what I mean? Like I never caught why that was necessary or why they did that, but yeah, the relationship that he had with dude, where he always felt like dude was just beating him and, you know, was on him, and it's like, oh, okay, it kind of explains like, damn, you was gay and you didn't want any kid coming up to be gay, so you was just extra hard on him, thinking that maybe that's the way that you keep the gay away. I don't know. I don't know. You know, but that's what I mean. Like some of them you know, that kind of stuff kind of plays into some of the stuff where some of the things in the story where you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess I could see why he was like the way he was with him growing up and why they had a relationship that they have now. Because A, he not even really his real son, but B, he was probably just trying to be extra tough on him because he was like, you know, like what Kevin Hart did, that's now, you know, problematic. But it's like, that's gay. you know. You know, he was on that type shit, you know what I mean? Except he was actually gay. But you know, when they actually did when they actually engaged in sexual congress on the show, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I know there was scenes where he was kicking it amongst other dudes who was like feminine dudes dressed up in their little, whatevers. And then there was like that one party where it was out, and I guess he just kind of was like, fuck it. And, they kissed or whatever. And he was just in there enjoying himself in the party and shit. But I don't remember them actually like, getting down, in sheets. Well, maybe I just blocked that out. Maybe I blocked that part out from my memory, but I think the way they did do it was, I think it was tasteful for them to do it the way they did and be able to show some of them dynamics that kind of lifestyle has on the person and who it has on their children, their family, and then also whoever their significant other may or may not be, in the moment. So I thought it was cool how they handled it versus like certain shows where it was like, damn, these niggas is fucking every goddamn episode. Like Scandal, Jesus.
Oh man. Yeah, so I mean, the joint debuts in, I want to say, in June.
Yeah.
So for those that's repping, or you just don't even rep it, but you want to check out and see what these characters is about, man, check them out. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's it, right? We done?
In the Black Panther 2 movie, the villain is rumored to be.
Yeah, the villain is rumored to be the Submariner himself, Namor. They've been talking about this character for a while now for this particular joint, but it seemed like it's getting close to it being official. Namor was created back in 1939, and over the years, he has been everything from a bad guy, start off as a bad guy, then a good guy, and then just wherever the hell they want to put him at, they did it. You know what I'm saying? So,
rumored to be played by Michael B. Jordan.
No, they're not. Stop lying. I knew that was bullshit as soon as you said it. The dude from Crazy Rich Asians was rumored at first to play him. The main dude. They was looking at him at first. I know that was one rumor or whatever, but they was looking at him. It would have been interesting if Chadwick was still alive, because that would be King versus King. You know what I'm saying? Namor is the king of Atlantis in the Marvel world. In the MCU world, he's the king of Atlantis. So he's their Aquaman in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting as to, and I think the big takeaway from him being that was in Endgame, when Black Widow was talking to the different characters from afar, the little portal thing. She was talking to Okoye, and she's like, "So what are we going to do about that situation?" She's like, "It's only water or something like that. It's just a minor earthquake. It'll go away. Whatever. Let it take its course. We'll be fine." And people was thinking like, "Nah, that's Namor, man. He's coming through the sea with that. He's doing that. He's causing that tsunami or whatever it is. You know what I mean?" So I think that will be interesting to break him in. I hope he's a dope villain, because the dopest villains to me in the MCU have been Thanos, Killmonger, Ultron was cool. You know what I'm saying? And it might have been Vulture was uh Mysterio. I almost
Mm-hmm.
said Ray in front of that. I'm not gonna lie. I almost said Ray. I swear to God, I would. Booyaka, booyaka. And so yeah. Yeah, I'm curious as to see, you know, how's this gonna play out, how this movie's gonna play out, man, for real, for real. I just don't want it to be a film where you're just focusing on all the different characters, which is cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like that should be more of a TV series than a movie.
Mm.
I feel like if you did a TV series that kind of led up to the movie, I think that would be fine. If you did it like that, like if you did a series just
Yeah.
focusing on different characters within Wakanda, and
Oh,
while
that would
that's
be
going
fine.
on, certain events is happening that's going to set up for what's going on in the movie.
That's what they should do.
That would be crazy because it's like at this point, I do feel like okay, you might as well. Shuri's next up, train her, put her through that process to be next up to be the Black Panther. But within this series, this limited series, you show
Yeah.
how she prepared for that, and you're also looking at different characters
Yeah.
within it, and then it might show you what Namor might probably have planned, and then so when it happens, boom, that last episode prepares you for the movie, and the way it ends, it's like it's gonna have you on this cliffhanger. That's like, wait till the movie next summer. Like that'll be fire. You set it up like that because that's what they did with the last
WandaVision.
Avengers movies. When
Yeah.
Infinity War happened, it left you hanging, and you was like, I gotta wait another year. The
Yeah.
fuck? And you had to sit there. You had to sit there and deal with that shit and wait. And so when next May rolled around, you was ready. You know what I'm saying? So
See,
I would love
with
to
the
see what
success of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, like I feel like that everything you just described is perfect and it's tailor made. Not tailor made. I feel like this situation with Chadwick Boseman passing, you know, kind of almost makes it somewhat necessary. You know what I mean? Maybe not necessary, but I think it makes it. It lends itself to that kind of situation where you could be like, all right, let's do a mini like a mini series, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, maybe 10 episodes. You know what I mean? To show like what the response has been, show like, okay, how did the Black Panther character die or disappear or whatever, however they do it. You know what I mean? What's the process like the next, the next one up? What's the training? You know, what kind of struggles they go through just to get their mind right and just get into that mind and into that mode of like really just accepting this,
Yeah.
Then and then in the second one they can kind of just jump right into it, you know, and then maybe use the second movie, the actual movie, to, if they are planning on having another Black Panther, like a male Black Panther, which may not necessarily be what their plans are, you know what I mean? Because everything is new movement. You got the LGBT movement, you got the women doing their thing and being strong characters themselves.
And that's because of the Me Too, Joy. You know what I mean?
You know, just different people of color wanting to, not wanting, but being highlighted in some of these roles. So you got other probably other people, other characters in the world of Wakanda, so to speak, that will become more important to the storyline. So yeah, it's a bunch of ways I guess that it could go, but I think that miniseries idea probably will set it up great, and give people something, and then they'll give them more time to actually do the movie and make sure that it comes across good. They can kind of, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like it would make sense to do that, considering that Chadwick Boseman passed. So it's kind of like that's a major thing to figure out when it comes to just how they want to proceed forward with the Black Panther character, and then also how that fits in with the whole cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, I just want this sequel to do well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To quote Aubrey Graham, I want it to be successful. You know what I'm saying? I just want it to be good. I just don't want it to be no, something that we wait for all this time, and then we watch it and it's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, man, because Trey was like, was it Trey? No, excuse me, it was my mom. She was like, I heard that the movie theater is going to raise their prices. Bitch, why? That's calling them a bitch, but AMC, whoever Regal, all that, bitch, why? I get it. I get it. But at the same time, no. This is how you're going to lose money again.
More money.
Facts, because we was already complaining before the pandemic about how expensive going to the movies is.
So once we have not talked about that, the gas shortage or whatever.
There's a shortage on damn near everything, yo. It's gas. Last year was coins.
About to be chicken.
I heard that at Chick-fil-A with the sauces, there's a shortage in the sauces.
So,
and I'm like, what? I need my Polynesian. What are you? I need the Polynesian. I need my sweet sriracha. I put that on everything. I need them. But you still got nuggets, right? There's not a nugget shortage? Because if Chick-fil-A says that there's a nugget shortage, nigga, I'm finna go crazy. They're about to be do the right radio trash can in the mother. The fuck? They have a Chick-fil-A nuggets? Yeah.
Oh man. Chick-fil-A, man. I tell you, they did some numbers over the pandemic, though. They might have done more numbers over the pandemic than they do normally.
Bro, that drive-through. I mean, when you drive past Taco Bell late at night, especially on the weekends,
you see 3
it looks
cars
like
on that drive-through. I'm not.
You might as well have a fucking DJ outside.
Yes.
Playing some jams.
Yes.
While that joint and have everybody just sit outside.
We won't be there for a minute.
And jamming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what should happen.
You won't be there for a minute, yeah.
And then when it comes to Chick-fil-A, the drive-throughs,
we're like, how many cars in front?
Crazy before the pandemic.
17. Oh yeah, that's what's up. I'm pull in. Like them high school kids be churning your ass out. Good service, you be in the drive-through for maybe like 15 minutes at the most, and it's never really that long.
No.
You know what I mean?
And then it's a thing of you can do the curbside pickup, like you just park your car and bring it out. You know what I'm saying? We could just come in, pick it up, roll right out if you don't want to wait in that line. Or if you're in the line, you can do, I have the app on my phone. Yeah, I know that's fact, but deal with it. And I just be like, do the drive-through, and I go through the drive-through and I'm like, yeah, I'm here to pick up my order. I did off the app, tell them my name, boom, 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 out the door. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's just a thing where it'd be so packed and you get kind of intimidated looking at the drive-through line, but you're like, try it out, see how it goes.
Nazi,
'Cause
yeah,
this is
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A got a great, reputation for that. Except Trey did tell me that the Chick-fil-A on 40, their service is trash. I went out there and Catonsville is trash. That's the one that's closest to her, so I was like, oh,
Why,
man.
right? Why it's always on the black side?
You know what I'm saying?
Why?
It's
And you know what?
always on
That's
our side.
interesting because that's the only Chick-fil-A I've ever heard of having bad service, though. You know what I mean?
I've experienced a kind of a bad situation at the one in the harbor. They had me waiting forever for my order. The lady noticed it, came up to me and was like, "What did you order?" And I told her what I ordered. She was like, "All right, I got you."
Mm-hmm.
And she made me like, because I was about to be late for work. This is when I was working over Fayette Street at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I barely just made it in the building. But that was at the point where I just didn't give a fuck about that job, and I was like, "Fuck this job, I'm ready to get out." So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't care. I was late. Um, Shout out to
Just
those that
like that.
work for affordable housing. Um, but yeah, man, because we talk about something like that, because you know how I feel about the McDonald's on Northwood Plaza. You already know about that shit.
Trauma.
They tore down all of Northwood Shopping Center to rebuild it, and I'm like, y'all didn't want to tear down this
They ain't touched
McDonald's?
that McDonald's and they ain't
Oh,
touched that
good. You
gas
didn't want to.
station.
You just didn't want to trip, fall into the damn wrecking ball, and get your Miley Cyrus on. Just came in like a wreck. You would do us a whole favor if you did that shit.
Man.
Um, but
you know, actually, we've been rocking with Stoko's lately. Ended up grabbing shit. We've been rocking with Stoko's kind of heavy in the last week, like chicken boxes, cheese steak, some chicken tenders and fries. You know what I mean?
And
Like
pizzas is good too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm still holding out though for when Sonny's come back. You know what I mean?
Bruh, when Sonny's open up, the whole city gonna be out. It's gonna be the whole city is going to be out. I'm surprised they wasn't like, hey y'all, let's just do a food truck. Let's do a food truck. Get on Facebook, tell them where we gonna be at. They pull up, boom. What? They would have made so much money, bro.
Yes.
They would have made so much money. Like, what? Just off alone, just off the chicken boxes. Like, exactly. They would have made money, yo. They would have made bread, fam. But it is what it is. Because like I think when they open back up, it's gonna be the supermarket chain Lidl. I think a Barnes and Noble is supposed to be there.
Oh, I've never even heard of Lidl until I think I was up like Lutherville or Cockeysville area once, and I was like, what the fuck?
You got one out there?
Yeah. I was like,
I know there's one,
but I never went in. It's like right off York Road.
Huh. Yeah, I know there's one out. What is that? The first one I saw was on Bel Air Road, like right before you get to this. What is that street called? Silver Spring, something like that.
Oh, okay. It was all the way out that way.
Yeah, there's one out there. Then there's one out 40. There's one on 40. And then they're going to build them on a Northwood Shopping Center. Gonna have Sonny's.
Save a lot.
You know what I'm saying? They was the first to charge you niggas for y'all bags.
Facts.
And
want some DC shit.
Yeah, they're gonna have a Sonny's and they're gonna have a Wingstop. Okay. That's gonna be interesting. think that's going to be interesting. I hope Wingstop don't lose customers like that because of Sonny's. Sonny's gonna be out here thriving. Wingstop gonna be like looking at them like
real talk.
They're gonna be looking out the window like, but we got
Wingstop is cool, but when it comes to
like,
that shopping center, fuck Wingstop. Dog. Sonny's is.
They're gonna be like, hey y'all like Rick Ross? We got Lemon Pepper. He owns
got nothing to do with Ross. Matter of fact, Ross got however many Wingstops. His Wingstops is good. You know what I mean? We just talk about this Wingstop right here. That's what we're talking about.
Word.
Wingstop. America's best.
But is that
we've been rocking with America's best a little bit. Yeah.
America's best is good. They pile on them fries, boy, but I like their wings.
Yeah.
I do like their wings. Different locations have different flavors of wings. I think that's dope. You go to different ones. But their chicken box, the one out, Lock, Raven, and Taylor, their chicken box is pretty good. My mom put me on their chicken box. And a sweet tea.
I just know I refuse to fuck with hip hop chicken.
Because the chicken's so small?
No, because I feel like it is I feel like it's people who don't even give a fuck about hip hop. They just took the name and threw it on there. And then it's chicken, so it's kind of like,
and just black
people gonna come eat this fried chicken. But when you go, it don't be no black people ever working in there. Well, at least not when I first seen them popping up. Now they all over the damn city. So I really don't know. I really don't know.
It's more like what are they like?
Like if I knew you owned hip hop chicken, I would fuck with it. Not just because you're my man, but because you really fuck with hip hop. You know, it's not just a gimmick trying to make money off of people. You know what I mean? That's basically my stance on it. Because when it first came out, I was like, hip hop chicken, and it was all like non-Spanish speaking people working in that joint, and I was like, fam, I can't support this. And it's in the black communities, in the black neighborhood where it's like, oh, niggas will eat fried chicken. Cool.
And see, the one around the corner from me, because there's one in Cold Spring Shopping Center.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like halal people that run it. Because not only do they sell chicken, I think they sell pizza. And they also sell like your lamb over rice, that shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I might pull up for that. I want to try that. I want to try their halal joints, their halal food.
That lamb is good, man.
Yeah, I had some legends last night, man. They haven't let me down yet.
So we've been going all over the place on some local B-more-ish, but
yeah, but I think
we want to wrap this wrap this 30 up.
Cool. Real quick, little shout outs, y'all. Shout out to, I know Morgan State had their graduation. That's Tommy's alma mater, undergrad alma mater. I took a class at Morgan one time. Hey. I don't count, but shout out to the graduates class of 2021 at Morgan State University.
No doubt.
They might have did both because I think they had 2 nights of graduations, one on Friday, one on Saturday. So congrats to them and anybody else that any of us would have graduated over the weekend. Tomorrow is May 17th. That will mark the 10th anniversary of the passing of my grandmother, Dell. Rest in peace to Dell. Love you, still miss you, and shout out to my family, man. Mom, Aunt Nikki, B, Aunt Reese, Uncle Melvin, Jay, his family, just Aunt Penny, Sydney, everybody, Kennedy, what up? So shout out to y'all. A few days ago was my good friend Josh, aka Mr. Afro Thunder. Check out his page, his YouTube page. He on some blur stuff, you know what I mean? He a quarter of a century, so salute to you. Shout out to your family as well. Famata, what up? You know what I mean? And am I missing anyone? I think that is it for my shout outs.
Just shout out to Breon. You know, he missed the pod
Shout out
today.
to
He had
Breon.
they lost somebody in the family suddenly this week. So
Yeah.
keep him in your prayers.
Shout out to my air.
And,
Much love to
their
my air.
And that's a wrap. Everything's blurred. Episode 30. We out of here.